has got a little icon beside his comment. A little balloon.
Well, I don't know. How'd you do that?
Yeah. I didn't think you could
Did you
put
do?
icons.
Is that an emoji thing?
Don't know.
There?
I'll ask him.
Yep. Maybe that's an emoji that he used on his keyboard and typed it in. He's getting fancy on us.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, for Pip, that takes some doing. Oh, by the way, Pip, I'm sending in some feedback after listening to your show today.
You know, you really need to get Adam Spink to send you some feedback.
Oh, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, because I'm
going to send you anyway. As you'd expect after making such derogatory military pilot comments. You pair of boring old civvies, you.
Hello, everybody in the chat room. Masha, we got Mike Kuipers, we have Neil Landwarm, we have Laura Davis, David Ogden in Houston, I'm assuming. Who else? Who else is lurking out there? And all of you are in the YouTube. That's good. That's good.
On cue, the housekeeping lady. So, man. All right.
Well,
so
either trying to record a podcast or trying to sleep. Either way,
Yeah,
they'll show up.
One of the two. Back.
Yeah.
And I have the the little thing on the door there, so whatever.
Yeah, but does that mean anything?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Liz is cracking the whip because she knows that I have to go. You know, I can't go long today. Unfortunately, it's sad.
Sad situation.
That's what she said. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sounds like a blood pressure
no matter what I say, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So never mind. I'm not going to say anything else.
Just keep taking those little blue pills. You'll be fine.
Oh, boy. Remember, you are being recorded, Liz. Let's see. Let's do a quick sound check, make sure everything is okay and not too loud.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side.
Too loud?
That was a little loud on my end.
Yeah, here.
Fine in England.
I wouldn't, never mind.
You're listening to the
Must
Airline Pilot
get
Guy
quieter
Show.
as it comes across the sea.
Okay. All right. I think that we are about ready to go here. So, without further ado, let's hit it at, we'll call it 5 after.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG, it's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 466.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from Studio 1A at APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded on April Fool's Day, 2021.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Picture light and he's flying by with the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, a Southwest pilot gets caught on an open mic describing San Francisco with the F word. The British RAF grounds all of their Hawk T-1 jets after one of them crashes. More news, your feedback, and today's plane tale of Prela Adin. So get all settled in, tray tables and seat backs at the upright and locked positions, electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 466 is ready for pushback.
Hello, and that was Radio Roger, a guy that claims that he is like a TV and radio reporter in
New York City!
but we're really not sure about that. Anyway, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast scraping the bottom of the aviation barrel with fake news and feedback from people who think that what they've sent us is actually interesting. I'm a guy who calls himself Captain Jeff, who hopes that no one ever does enough research to blow my cover story. And joining me today from her van somewhere down by the river in South. A very attractive woman who would like us to believe that the out-of-focus diplomas and certificates on the wall in her background are real. Dr. Steph.
I'd like to see you prove it. Oh, okay, here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, it also helps if I have a working microphone, you know. Some people would say that we're, in quotes, professionals here, but they'd be wrong about that, too. So.
No, I don't know anybody who would say that. And also joining us from an underpass somewhere in Illinois, a man who spits out nonstop techno garbage, hoping no one will listen closely enough to realize it's all a bunch of bunk. Miami Rick.
Oh, man. You were on to me, apparently. I knew it was just a matter of time. And hey, don't be hitting on my underpass. It's cozy.
Okay. It looks like it. All right. And from his studio in
Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
A gray-haired, gray-bearded old man whose senility has progressed to the point that he believes he once was a fighter pilot and then an airline captain. It's Captain Nick.
You couldn't wait until I was dead before you said that?
No, we couldn't
Damn
wait.
you! Damn you!
Time for the news.
Stand by for news.
I have to, before we start with the news, I have to mention that I'm very, very nervous because the CEO of Delta Airlines is with us in the YouTube chat room, Ed Bastian. Hello, sir. Not Acme. No, that's true. I don't have to worry about it then. Okay.
I know, you got nothing to worry about.
All right. Let's start with item one in the news. Jet grounded after Royal Navy pilots survive crash in Cornwall. And this is from the Times. While it remains inappropriate to comment on the ongoing investigation, further technical advice has enabled the chain of command to make appropriate decisions on the continuing safety assessments of the wider fleet. What am I reading? Doesn't make any sense. Consequently, the RAF has resumed Hawk 1, T1 flying. Oh, it's an update. Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Well, how come it doesn't... Oh, yeah, it does say update there. I skipped that. I wasn't paying attention to that.
Who's this professional podcaster we have in charge of this thing?
I don't know.
I told you. It
This
was...
producer-director that's in my ear right now is trying to explain what I was just reading. It just threw me completely by surprise. Anyway, let me start with the top, where I should have started here. The Royal Navy and RAF have grounded 44 of their Hawk jets after one crashed in Cornwall yesterday. 2 pilots were forced to eject from the Royal Navy aircraft moments before it crashed into woodland. Navy sources said that the flying of the T-1 variants of the jet had been temporarily paused as the cause of the crash was investigated. The grounded jets comprise 8 used by the Royal Navy, 22 by the RAF, and 14 by the Red Arrows. Many of them they had in their inventory they had to get rid of because they found out that Captain Anderson had actually piloted them. Anyway, the Ministry of Defense said that the cause of the crash would be investigated. Safety is our paramount concern. The RAF has decided to pause Hawk T1 operations as a precautionary measure. We will review the situation as further information becomes available. The jet was on its way to take part in a training exercise known as Thursday War, in which Royal Marines ships and aircraft carry out war games. During the exercise, the Hawks typically simulate bombing missions against the ships. Shortly after takeoff, or setting off, the crew got into trouble and were forced to turn around. They ejected before the aircraft crashed a few miles from its base. What do you think, Nick? Do you think they just lost? It only has one engine, right? Single engine?
Yeah, exactly right. Sounds like either an engine fault or they ingested something, perhaps. And no way to tell until some kind of an inquiry is made and they can examine it. But the aircraft came down in a wooded area, so they can get at it. It's just a matter of time before they, find out the cause. They grounded all the Hawks of that variant, and bearing in mind these Hawk T1s were around when I was instructing on them in the late 70s, early 80s. Early 80s, really. So they're pretty long in the tooth. I mean, there are more advanced variants now around, but these particular ones are the oldest ones they have. And I'll tell you what, when we first got them, we used to pull the wings off them. So what they're like now, I do not know. I mean, they were like 8G capable. Very impressive.
Wow. Don't some of our T-38s date back to the 60s? The ones that are still flying?
Probably, yeah. Maybe late 60s. Yeah.
So.
But they're finally getting rid of those whenever the replacement jet is available to start filling in. But they're still, I think that jet's still on the drawing board. I don't even think they have a prototype of it yet. Or maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Anyway, I'm glad the ejector seats all work fine. They've got good quality ejector seats in their command eject system. And these particular Hawks that the Navy use, they used to have an outfit called Fradu, I think, and they flew old Hunters. And basically they simulate anti-ship missiles for the Royal Naval defence systems to practice against. So they just moved on to these. I think these are airframes that are probably a bit old now. So the Air Force getting rid of them. And I think most of these T1s will be gone later this year.
Oh.
Interesting. Just reading at the very bottom of this article, it says the ejection seat manufacturer Martin Baker said it's the first Royal Navy ejection in 18 years. So I guess the Royal Navy does not have to eject very often.
No, they usually pile in, sitting in the airplane. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Sorry, joking. Now, I was going to say, though, I think this is number 7001 and 7002 for Martin Baker.
For Martin Baker. Yeah.
Let's hear it for Martin Baker. Wow. Yo!
Yeah.
They're very good.
And over here, the Navy uses a T-45. It's a variant. It's basically on the Hawk jet. Obviously beefier landing gear and all that for carrier qualifications and carrier operations, but it comes from the T1.
Yeah, it is. It's the same basic design, built under license. By the way, Neil Lawn in the chat room says Caterpillar Club. No, the Caterpillar Club comes from the Irving parachute, and it's a beautiful little gold silk caterpillar with a ruby eye. And since most of the parachutes now provided for ejector seats are made by Aeroconical, certainly in the United Kingdom they are. Other countries' parachute manufacturers may vary. Aeroconical do not give you a caterpillar, I'm sorry to say. But Martin Baker give you a nice tie, apparently.
Oh, well, that's nice. Just a quick break, and I was just talking with Liz about this. Rick, go ahead and say some things. It sounds like your audio is doing weird things.
Ooh, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, but is it doing the same thing for everybody else on the panel? That it's kind of
clicking,
breaking a little. Yeah.
Really?
Huh. Wonder what's going on there.
Always something.
Always something. Probably nothing we can do about it, right? I mean, we can use
video seems fine, so I don't think it's
video's fine. Yeah, and that's interesting because usually the video's the first to kind of
and it's a fast internet too. So
that's
wonder
weird.
if it's a StreamYard issue, like leave and come back.
No, I don't think it's too close.
No.
But you know what? You're recording your own audio now anyway, right? Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. So then we don't have to worry about it. I'll just do it that way. So
okay.
Everybody else is recording as well, correct?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right. Excellent. Anything else to say about about that first news item?
No.
Oh, of course, yes. We have an update, apparently. While it remains inappropriate to comment on the ongoing investigation. I just read that. Just go back. What do you call it? Fast rewind or whatever, and go back and listen to what I said at the very beginning of this news item. That's the update. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Red Arrows love hours, and then they were airborne again. So they were taking part in all the flypasts over London. They didn't care.
All right, you're breaking up a little bit too now, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well,
a typical April 1st
I
kind
think
of a show.
it's a StreamYard April Fool's joke on us.
Yeah, maybe a StreamYard.
I was just going to say,
April
Pip
Fools.
in the chat room has added that the Royal Navy is mostly helicopter based, hence the infrequent ejections by their crews.
Yeah, ejections don't really work well on a helicopter.
No, that wouldn't go very well.
So that explains the high number of helicopter mishaps. Makes sense.
And if you're interested in learning about why they call the Navy the Royal Navy, but the Army is not called the Royal Army, listen to the latest episode of the Plane Safety Podcast, where Pilot Pip and Captain Al discuss this.
Yeah, if you can stay awake until you get to that bit, yep.
Exactly. All right. Going on to this next one here, news. NTSB calls for more safety oversight of air tour operators. Federal safety officials are making another push for stricter oversight of air tour operators and hot air balloon rides after several deadly crashes in recent years. The NTSB on Tuesday asked the Federal Aviation Administration to raise safety requirements for the passenger carrying operations, which fall under less restrictive regulations than airlines do for things such as pilot training and maintenance. When people step on board an aircraft as paying passengers, they have the right to trust that the flight will be operated as safely as possible. NTSB Chairman Robert Sumalt said at the end of the board hearing on the matter. He also said on another, what? Why am I hearing weird buzzing now? Is that me? Okay, no, the buzzing's coming from you, Liz. Okay. It's like a ground loop, like the power. Anyway, no problem. He also, the NTSB chairman said this not that long ago.
That's what NOTAMs are. They're just a bunch of garbage that nobody pays any attention to.
And that is actually, that's actually him. That's not an April Fool's joke. Yeah, that was something he said during the discussion of the investigation of the Air Canada Airbus that almost landed on a taxiway back in, I don't know, last year sometime, San Francisco, or maybe it was a couple of years ago.
But it's interesting he says that because I tell you, the 2 times that I've been ramp checked stateside, the first thing the inspector went for was the NOTAMs and make sure that we checked them. And ever since then, I always make sure that I mark them because otherwise, how can he tell whether we checked them or not? So, I promise we checked them, but there's no marks on them. So ever since that happened,
I normally don't bother with it, Rick, because
that's what NOTAMs are. They're just a bunch of garbage.
Well, you're a better man than me then.
Anyway, that story's really not that interesting. So, NTSB is concerned. I guess these tour operators are kind of getting away with using a part of the regulations that is not very restrictive, and they think that it needs to be tightened up a little bit because, they're carrying passengers out there too.
There's some of these operations that get operated under Part 91 rules. So certainly in terms of oversight, things are not nearly there's not as much scrutiny that goes into and not as much in terms of, paperwork and checkboxes that have to be ticked and things like that. So that's what they're kind of looking into here at this point.
Okay. Very good. Now, this next one is a strange one. This is from Ripley's AviationNews.com. Planes leaving runways and crashing is becoming a big problem for some airports. Even planes taxiing around and smashing into each other is a danger, which costs airports millions of dollars every year. Atlanta International Airport is trialing a new guidance system for their planes that should stop all this nonsense. It's called TrackSafe. Despite being paid millions of dollars, pilots still can't be trusted to stay on the runway during landing, and then they often bump into each other while getting you to the gate. That's true, actually. This mad state of affairs prompted TrackSafe, a subsidiary of Pan Am Railways, to develop a system of keeping aircraft on the straight and narrow. On landing, their revolutionary guidance rails will gather the wheels of errant planes and safely move them back to the middle of the runway, an enormous relief to the traveling public. Once at a suitable turnoff, points on the rail system will turn to allow the plane to safely exit and route towards their parking position known as a gate. Atlanta head of public communications said that they have to deal with many pilots who get lost at the airport. They are forever making turns they're not supposed to and getting stuck looking for Dixie, he said. It's even worse now that Dixie no longer exists. The system will automatically guide their wheels and prevent them from losing their way. It will eventually take them right to their parking spot. The system, controlled by controllers in the control tower, will also guide planes out to the runway for takeoff and stop them from trying to take off from the wrong runway, which the Public Communications Department said was also a big problem. As they approach the runway, automatic buffers will move into position to stop them going onto the runway before they're allowed. Another thing that pilots like to do, said the PubCom head. Who is this guy? I'd like to talk to him.
You should know. He works at your airport.
Yeah, well, I don't know everybody at the airport. The TrackSafe system was put through its paces at the airport near Palm Springs, and while fitted, not one plane left the runway. A resounding success, said TrackSafe. After TrackSafe Phase 1 has been actioned, Atlanta is expecting to move to Phase 2, which allows flatbed rail cars to travel on the rail system to carry planes out to the runway without using their gas-guzzling fuel. And TrackSafe, then you could say, is going green. Here we go.
Oh,
that's not it. Oh, shoot. We're going green. We're going green. We're gonna take care of the earth. We're going green. All right. Atlanta expects to start fitting TrackSafe in April 2022 to the area around runway number 8, and Ripley's Aviation News will be there to keep track of this amazing technology. All right,
I love
discuss.
it. I love it. Well, airplanes land themselves now, so why not implement this? It's long overdue, I think.
No brainer, right?
Reminds me of a couple of things. Very much like,
sense.
If I go bowling, get the bumpers for the lanes. So
Yeah,
that I
like the
can't
bumper
throw a
guard things.
gutter ball.
Yeah.
And actually, as I was, took my car through the automatic car wash this morning, it's got the same kind of like rail track system. So you just drive in and then, it just pushes you along right through.
Just make taxiing pilot-proof. It's exactly what we need.
Exactly.
Well, it'll be great because now, as soon as you land on the runway, you can just forget about anything now. You can just start doing your paperwork and you'll be guided straight to the parking position.
So more efficiency, too, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, it's just that I worry a bit about the controllers. You know what they're like? It's like kids with a train set. They're going to be, sending everyone around in all sorts of directions. And, I mean, they'll be just sending airplanes round and round the airport for the hell of it. So...
Yeah,
I do worry about that aspect.
And I imagine once they implement this in Chicago, they'll have a controller putting you in the penalty box and just leaving you there. And the problem is he's probably going to forget about you. So,
just permanent penalty box.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Mind you, it'll make the frequencies quieter because you won't actually need a radio taxi, ground frequency because you don't need to speak to anyone if you're being guided everywhere.
So now. You'll just everybody will be making meow sounds and like fart sounds and stuff
and
on the radio.
On guard.
Yeah, guard.
Do you think they're going to cut people's pay as a result of this?
Might be an unintended side effect.
Well, no, I'm sure the unions are going to get into that. So I don't imagine that's going to be an issue. Although you're going to have to start dealing with the unions that for the manufacturers of these devices. So
I was going to say, what's the Railway Workers Union called over there? Because you might have to join two unions. You might have to join the Airline Pilots and the Railway Workers Union.
Right.
Railway Labor Board? No,
the RALPA.
All right.
It'd be interesting to see what Atlanta think of it. Let us know how you get on, Jeff.
We have a lot more fake news to get to, so let's continue. News, and you know what? Some of these are actually real news stories, and it's really sometimes hard to tell which ones are real and which ones aren't.
It just speaks to the absurdity of the world these days.
Yes, exactly. United flight attendants complain serving snacks on board is causing a toxic environment. Flight attendants at United Airlines said the carrier's decision to resume buy on-board snack and alcohol service on certain domestic flights is causing a toxic environment, and they are struggling with mask enforcement. The situation has been made worse by glitchy sales software. I love the use of that word now. It's just anything that goes wrong is a glitch. Glitchy sales software and inebriated passengers, according to the Association of Flight Attendants. United dramatically scaled back in-flight service as part of its initial response to the pandemic, but brought back its buy on-board service on certain flights over 800 miles last November in an attempt to address customer complaints over the lack of food and drink offered on many of its longer domestic services. The in-flight bistro was initially limited to flights from Denver to Boston, Chicago O'Hare, and a bunch of others here that I'm not going to read. The Association of Flight Attendants says, however, that the rollout of buy onboard snacks has been beset with problems and that management needs to start taking their complaints seriously. And then there's some quotes by some pissed off flight attendants and other information. And then, of course, there's a rebuttal by somebody in management over there, Mandeep Gruel, United's Vice President of Customer Strategy and Innovation, told flight attendants at the time that their concerns were definitely warranted, but that by providing additional food and beverage choices, we can better control how long customers are without their face covers and have better control of what comes on board, allowing for safer handling of trash. And additionally, we don't have to be on the airplanes and be exposed to all those germs because we fly on private jets. No, they didn't say that. Actually, that was not a quote. I added that at the end. But that's true.
More fake news, huh?
It's true.
Well, a little bit. Yeah, it's true. Anyway, on Tuesday, it was revealed that Delta Airlines plans to bring back buy-on-board snack options on domestic flights starting April 14. The Atlanta-based airline intends to serve a variety of alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, as well as sweet and savory snacks and coffee and tea. All right.
Good. I'm all for it. Bring back snacks.
Yeah.
And beverages.
Bring back airplane food. Fantastic.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. And yes, Liz, you did hear correctly that Delta is getting rid of the blocked middle row seats May 1st. So, all right.
I'm having my Acme snacks right now, my Acme pretzels.
Are you? How are they?
If I hold them like that, it looks like I've got a pair of glasses on.
There you go.
Oh, very nice.
And they're not bad, actually, a bit crunchy.
Nice.
Alt mute.
Oh, thank you for that update. Getting on with the news here. Southwest pilot on hot mic goes on expletive laden rant against the Bay Area.
You know, I bet he calls it San Fran, too.
Oh, no. That's probably the worst thing he could do, actually. Let's see here. Okay. Got to get ready for this one. The pilot who delivered the anti-Bay Area rant has been confirmed to be an employee of Southwest Airlines. The airline confirmed exclusively to SF Gate. A spokesman for the company did not identify the pilot, but said that they are, quote, fully addressing the situation internally. In other words, is probably out the door. Nah, I doubt it. The union
you
defend
got it.
him.
Yeah.
Anyway, our corporate culture is built on a tenet of treating others with concern and dignity, and the comments are inconsistent with the professional behavior and overall respect that we require from our employees, the spokesman said in a statement. This situation was an isolated incident involving a single employee and not a representative of the nearly 60,000 hardworking, respectful people of Southwest Airlines. So I did actually get the live ATC audio, except it's not good at all. It's very, very difficult to hear exactly what he's saying. So I'm not even going to play that. So I'm going to reenact the expletive laden rant.
It should be good.
Okay. So here we go. The pilot says, "This place, GD liberal." He then continues making several other curse-laden comments. Let's see. Let me try that again. Effing weirdos, probably driving around in Hyundai's roads, and that goes slow as... So you don't have balls unless you're rolling coal, man. It. How'd I do?
Tell us how you really feel about San Francisco and the Bay Area.
Oh man!
And wait a minute, why is he saying Hyundais? Isn't he talking? Is he talking about Teslas? Is he getting confused?
I don't know. It sounds like he
Hyundais?
doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Well, probably.
Well, they've
yeah,
spent all their money on real estate in the San Francisco area, so they can't afford to buy
Yeah, he's
Those
going
guys.
for the what was it called? The hybrids, I think it is. The cars.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the Priuses.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
Priuses
probably what
and
he
all that
meant.
stuff. Yeah, probably what I meant.
I don't know. I think he picked the wrong car manufacturer there in his.
He was angry.
That's
He
what
didn't
it
care.
was.
He was just grasping at whatever came to mind.
I
you know?
don't think that was the least of
Hyundais,
his
whatever.
sins. At least you didn't call him San Fran.
That is true.
What I said.
You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was fun. And that was real news. Next item here. This is sad. 3 Russian bomber pilots killed by ejection system glitch. There's a glitch again. 3 members of a Russian bomber's aircrew died Tuesday when their ejection seats accidentally activated during pre-flight checks, the military said. The Russian Defense Ministry said the incident happened at the airbase in the Kaluga region, about 145 kilometers, 90 miles southwest of Moscow. Said the crew of a Tu-22M3 long-range bomber. What do we call it? What does NATO call that?
It's backfire.
Backfire. Okay. Long-range bomber was preparing for a training mission when its ejection system malfunctioned and accidentally shot the crew out. The ministry said the altitude wasn't enough for the parachutes to open, and 3 of the 4 crew members died of injuries. I think they were on the ground still, weren't they, when they accidentally?
Yeah, but most
fired?
0-0 seats. I mean,
Are
yeah.
these 0-0 seats though?
No, I don't think they can't be. If they all died. I'm just saying that by now you'd think that they would have 0-0 seats in all military airplanes.
The technology exists, so.
Right.
Yeah, well, it existed around the 80s, if not earlier. So, I can't believe that this system doesn't allow for a ground level 0-speed ejection.
Yeah, me too. It's a cool looking airplane, though. You have to say. I mean,
Yeah, it's Mach 2 now capable. It used to be subsonic, then it got to Mach 1.6. They changed it from fixed wing to swept wing. Variable geometry wing, and they've continued to upgrade it. It's been around for a long time, 40-something years, and it's and they're still building and selling them. I think they've sold the Chinese some.
I think this is I think the predecessor to the Tu-160, right? The blackjack, I think it is, but it's all it's a knockoff of our B1. But yeah.
Hey Nick, quick question from the chat room. Someone wants to know, what are 0-0 seats?
Okay. In the old days, you had to be traveling forward at 90 knots, and you had to be initially around 200 feet above the ground, but then you could be just doing 90 knots at ground level. So they were called 0-90 seats. So the two numbers reflect the height you need to be above the ground and the speed you need to be doing to survive an ejection or for the ejector seat to function correctly. When they pitted rockets, they became 0-0, so you could be sitting on the tarmac and just pull the ejector seat handle, and you will bang out with 0 forward speed and a 0 altitude, 0 height.
Quite a ride.
Yeah, exactly right. Because you appreciate that with forward speed, the parachute will inflate a lot quicker. When they went to 0-0 seats, they had to get the seat up higher so that the parachute still had a chance of inflating. Mind you, it still inflates pretty damn late. You get one swing, really, before you hit the ground.
Yeah, and that's not a lot.
No.
Better than nothing, though.
Yeah, works.
Yeah.
All
usually.
Right. So, Liz, are you ready for the next news item? All right. Let's see. Airliner to fly with turning wheels. Huh? Okay, this is from...
What?
I thought all wheels turned. BehindTheAirbus.com is where this article is from. Landing an airliner is the most likely time to have an accident, and the hardest landing a pilot has to perform is when the wind is blowing across the runway, called a side wind touchdown. Apparently, if the pilot points his airplane straight at the runway, the side wind blows him away from where he wants to go. Because of this, he directs his airplane towards the wind to compensate. It's named after something many of us in the States know how to do, crabbing.
Is that really what you all know how to do?
Crabbing. Ready?
Okay.
There we go. Crabbing in pilot jargon means flying sideways. You weren't at the rehearsal, were you? Crabbing in pilot jargon means flying sideways, the way a crab scuttles across the sand, so that the airplane points one way while traveling in a different direction, just like a crab. If you're finding this a little hard to understand, then we're not surprised. Understanding what pilots mean when they talk is hard. While they can fly sideways up to the landing strip, pilots can't land like that. They need to be pointing straight. At least until now, straightening their airplanes is called straightening. or as they might say, kicking drift, and is a complex maneuver that some fail to adequately master, which accounts for many aviation accidents. Airbus, the company that has made flying easy, believes it has the answer and is modifying one of its aircraft to show off the new concept. It's been named the Carefree Steering Errorless Rollout and called Caster in English, but referred to as Roulette by the French test pilots.
That's a bit of a gamble.
It is. Roulette. It is the very latest in Airbus technology. In the future, Airbus pilots won't have to worry about kicking drift, and they will land like a crab or a le crab. Le crab. Sideways.
Very good, Joe.
Thank you. This is because the wheels of the... le crab. Le crab. This is because the wheels of the airplane won't mind what direction the airplane is going in, as they can freely turn, and on landing, they will automatically swivel to the direction the airplane's going. The wheels will roulette or caster. If you're not sure what we mean, think of the wheels under your office chair or on your shopping cart, which naturally turn in the direction you're moving. This simple change in the design of Airbus landing gear will stop the need for pilots to straighten their aircraft for landing and take away the risk of old-fashioned crosswind landings. Boeing, not to be outdone, has already started to develop their own version of this novel design feature and are altering the landing legs of a test airplane to show off their wheel orientation Boeing bogey landing equipment, also called wobble. However, we understand that they have already encountered a common problem associated with this type of wheel, caster flutter. Don't you hate that when you're in your shopping cart and it's going, one of the wheels is like, take it. Can you imagine that happening on an airplane? It's not good.
Man.
A little bit of a bumpy ride on touchdown. I
Yeah, a
suppose.
little bit.
Yeah.
Good excuse. Well, the rails will take this problem
Exactly.
away.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
you combine the two things and it'll be perfect.
It'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Outstanding. Well, to find out more about these two competing technologies and watch them develop, stay tuned to BehindTheAirbus.com. Excellent.
Cool.
Good
Fantastic.
news source.
Love it.
Glad we
love
found that one.
Yes, we did.
All right. Let's see. And then finally, in the news, update, flight safety investigation report for the Kamloops Snowbirds accident. Let's see, on March 29, 2021, from Ottawa, the Royal Canadian Air Force's Directorate of Flight Safety as the Airworthiness Investigative Authority, for the Canadian Armed Forces, has concluded its investigation into an accident involving a C-2-114 Tutor aircraft of 431 Air Demonstration Squadron on May 17, 2020, in the vicinity of Kamloops, British Columbia, that claimed the life of Captain Jen Casey and injured Captain Richard McDougall. The complete findings of the investigation and recommended preventative measures are publicly accessible in the CT-114161 Flight Safety Investigation Report. The investigation found that ingestion of a single little small bird into the engine of the aircraft Snowbird 11 following takeoff resulted in a compressor stall and loss of thrust. Upon loss of power, the pilot initiated a climb straight ahead and then a turn back towards the airport. During this maneuver, the aircraft entered into an aerodynamic stall and the pilot gave the order to abandon the aircraft. The pilot and passenger ejected from the aircraft at low altitude in conditions that were outside safe ejection seat operation parameters. So apparently this is not a 0-0 seat either. Neither the pilot nor the passenger had the requisite time for their parachutes to function as designed. Recommendations in the report identify the need to conduct additional training for CT-114 aircrew to better prepare them for an engine failure after takeoff in a low-level environment, clarify the command to eject, publish a directive to clarify how aircrew should prioritize an ejection scenario near or over a populated area, and research potential options to stabilize the ejection seat from any tendency to pitch, roll, or yaw. So what do you think about this one?
Late ejection. It's always a dreadful time when you lost your engine shortly after takeoff, because certainly in the Hawks we had the same sort of question mark. Do you have enough energy to do a dumbbell and get back to the runway you've just taken off from? So we're not talking about doing a circuit. We're just talking about doing a quick turn away, reverse, come back, point at the runway and try and get it on the ground. And if you don't have the right amount of energy, in the Hawks we used to have a specific height and speed, and if you were below that height and speed, there was no question, you just eject it. It doesn't sound like they had the same rigorous parameters dealing with this airplane, and in particular an aircraft that doesn't have a really good ejector seat. You have got to take all sorts of factors into account: your forward speed, your rate of descent, any angle of bank you've got on, and of course the time it takes to get two of you out without a command eject system. Command eject is incredibly quick. It's obviously what happened on that Russian aircraft. It's got a command eject system, which is why all four of the crew ejected when probably only one seat malfunctioned. So I suspect that this aircraft doesn't have command eject, which means you've got to tell the other guy to get out, wait for him to go, and then go yourself, or you just eject and assume that he will take the hint and follow you as quickly. Follow you as quickly as they can, which in a lot of circumstances is the preferred option. People might say, oh, no, you've got to get your passenger out first. No, it's quicker to just pull the handle and go, and then assume he will follow you in very short order.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Again, the links to the actual report will be in the show notes if you're interested in reading it. And that is going to do it for today's news segment. And
that was
now
quick.
I'm desperately trying to find, here we go, this. And now it's time for the segment that I really love called Getting to Know Us. Try this again. Getting to like us, getting to hope you like us too. I know there's extra words in there, but got to take what you can get.
We certainly do.
Yes, especially us. All right. Who would like to begin our Getting to Know Us segment? Wow.
Not everybody at the same time.
A lot of...
I feel like
someone was going to volunteer.
I feel like when nobody volunteers, we should go in order of seniority.
Dang.
I was just going to ask how the underpass was there, Rick, but
oh man,
never mind. We'll wait for that.
Yeah. So I'll fill you guys in on that.
Okay. So I guess seniority means that am I the most senior one then? I guess.
Or you could go in order of least seniority first.
Oh yeah, juniority. Okay, Nick. You're definitely not
but I'm the oldest,
most junior in age, but you are in APG crew host.
I certainly
what's
am.
It called seniority.
Yeah, I've only got 266 shows behind me.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's not very many, is it?
No.
Okay,
huge.
so I'm sitting on a new seat. That's I got so many complaints from one particular listener that there was a squeak on the show, and
was that your chair?
Well, apparently it turned out to be my chair.
Oh, okay.
It was his
I didn't know
chair.
that.
So I've had to go and buy a new office chair.
Oh
which
my! Does that mean that the coffee fund has to reimburse you for that then, I guess?
No, sadly not. This coffee fund has been very generous lately, so I shall probably use coffee fund funds. But and the oh yes, I have. It looks very nice too.
He's referring to a comment in the live audience chat room. If you're wondering, if you're just listening, okay, go ahead. Basically, Laura said that
at about 4:30.
Nick got Laura in the chat room says that Nick got a butt lift.
Well, actually, I didn't. All I did was get one that drops down like that.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm sorry. Yes.
I got it very late. It must have been around 5:30, and I had to assemble it in a very short time. I'm now an expert office chair assembler.
Stay tuned for later in the show when the chair falls apart and Nick is on the ground.
Do you have any pieces left over?
Yes. Thank you.
That's never a good sign.
Got 2 screws left over.
A few loose screws.
Just sitting there in the packet.
Well, as I like to say, 2 screws are better than none.
That's what she said. That's today done. The most important thing about today is not that it's April Fool's Day, is that it is the 100th birthday of the Royal Australian Air Force. So, congratulations, RAAF, and I hope those of you who listen to us from the fine country down under got a chance to see some of the air displays, the fly pasts, the parades and things that were happening today. Even in London, they had a parade for the Royal Australian Air Force, and that's what the Red Arrows were doing today. They were doing a fly past for that, as well as, of course, celebrating the Royal Air Force's birthday. We are 103 in the Royal Air Force. It also happens to be the Royal Canadian Air Force's birthday and the Royal New Zealand Air Force's birthday. They were all formed on the 1st of April.
Well, I think that deserves a round of applause for all of those great Air Forces. We'll even throw some noisemakers in there. Congratulations. All right.
Absolutely. So that's been good. Something to look forward to, and hence the background in my video. I don't think there's much else been going on over here, other than I've been rather busy doing stuff for the show, and that's kept me going. So
yeah, you've been doing some writing of news articles.
I was actually going to ask after that second one who the journalist was, because there were some questions I had about the terminology that was used. Anyway,
well, is it like the journalists, typical aviation journalists using the side? Yeah, we had a discussion about that, actually. I'm thinking, why are we not saying crosswind? He goes, yeah, because it's a stupid journalist. That's why.
Yeah, that's what stupid journalists would say.
No, I got it. I was just wondering if the journalist had a name so I could write.
Yeah, Ripley.
Ripley, that's right. Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough.
From Ripley's
Journalism
Aviation News. Yes, believe it or not. Yeah, let's just say we don't believe it.
All right. That's a shame, because it's all true, honest.
Yeah.
Honest Injun. What else has happened this week? We had a heat wave, which disappeared, sadly, very quickly. So we're back to normal temperatures again now, which is such a shame. I did manage to get my the Scarlet Lady, though, my little red car, up to London and back, though. But as restrictions are being eased, I gather they're being imposed in Canada. They're actually being eased here in the United Kingdom now. The amount of traffic was just unbelievable. So I don't want to go and do that again in a hurry.
But don't you like spending time in that sweet little car of yours?
I do, but eventually, it just becomes really hard work when you're like doing 5 miles an hour through the streets of London trying to find your way.
It's fun to spend a lot of time in it when you can drive it at its intended fun speeds.
Exactly. With the roof down, it was quite cold. We couldn't put the roof down. And
it's a manual shift, so you've got the clutch. Yeah.
No, I've got flappy paddles.
No, he's got the cheater.
Oh, he's got the little paddles on the side. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you get an extra gear when you have flappy paddles.
I have 6 gears.
I think I've got 7.
Oh, well. fancy.
Yeah.
Neener.
Neener.
Brilliant. Right. So that's it from me, I'm afraid.
Okay. Well, great.
Oh, hang on a minute. I'm just going to check because I did write something down. No,
Okay,
no,
right.
that's fine.
Check it.
No,
that's it.
you can
All
carry
right.
on.
Okay, we're carrying on then. Dr. Steph, you're next because I think Rick is having an issue with his microphone, so he's had to restart everything.
Convenient.
That might be why we were getting that weird sound from his audio. I bet.
Yeah. So we'll start out. I've got some serious news to convey today. I have, after much deliberation and consideration, decided that I'm going to quit medicine and flying and probably podcasting too and become a professional singer. So,
Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations. Not many of you know. That's
brilliant.
In fact, nobody knows that Steph's a good singer.
That's why I have, not volunteered any singing over the past however many years because I just was saving it for this time when I was going to make my world debut.
Okay. So can
not-
you give us a little sample of this talent that you've been hiding?
No, I'm afraid not. You're going to have to buy the album because would like to make money off of this.
Really?
It's my retirement plan.
I'm a little disappointed that you can't sing for us a little bit.
Sorry. Secret for just a little bit longer.
Okay.
No, but anyway, it's been a, normal week, more or less. I did a little bit of flying last weekend. The weather was still not great. I actually flew at the drop zone where Armando from Plain Talking UK usually flies. So they have a 182 drop zone, Cessna 182 drop zone up there. Ceilings were not good enough to have tandem students go, so we just did a couple of low passes, hop and pops for the fun jumpers that were there, and then it started raining, so that was about that for the day. And of course, terrible weather Saturday, terrible weather Sunday. Monday was like 70 and sunny and no wind, and that would have been great for flying, but not the day of the week that I do any flying. So enjoyed that, but hopefully it'll be nice this weekend. Going to get to see some friends this weekend. And celebrate a birthday or two. No. And that's about it.
Okay.
And I will keep you advised as to when that album is going to be released.
Okay, we'll do that. Remind me, Rick, you had to leave for a few moments with a system malfunction, but we just need to let you know that Steph has just announced that she is quitting her job as a doctor and pilot and everything else that she does, and she's going to become a professional singer.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. She's got the voice, the timbre, and the drive. So I think it's
that's what's going to happen to people listening to me.
It's a great career move, and let me be the first one to congratulate you, and I'll be the first one to download your songs on iTunes and fly to them. It's gonna be great.
Awesome, great.
Yeah.
Is Liz going to produce your songs?
Well, we're working on the details of that, but yeah, I think that's going to be the case. I'm stealing her from APG to be a full-time employee for me.
Gosh.
Very nice.
Sorry, Jeff.
What? Okay. Well, I got some news for you guys. When it's my turn.
Oh, great.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Very nice.
So let's go with Rick first, though, while we have him before he leaves.
So I was going to fill you guys in on my underpass here.
Can you turn down now? You need to turn your volume
down a little bit.
Yeah, in the
In the app
StreamYard
here.
thing.
Yep. So I'll tell you here.
That's weird. And I'm flashing. Sorry, Glenn. Hope that's not too upsetting.
So do you want me to just go automatically adjust?
No, yeah, that's good.
Well,
That looks
Okay.
good. That sounds good now. Whatever you just did.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah.
Too low.
It's still kind of breaking up, but luckily I'm hoping that you still have the recording going. Check that.
It's still going.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. What a mess. This
Very much. I don't know what's going on
this
today.
show is right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun editing for sure. That's my April Fools. Thank you, Liz. So anyway, yeah. Update us on the conditions there in the underpass.
It's great. Flew in from one underpass to another, from Stockton out here to Rockford, and got in this morning at about 9:30. So it was a nice, quiet flight. Took off at 3:45 in the morning. My favorite time of the day to fly because there's nobody around. No radio calls. We're going through 10,000 feet as soon as we got switched over from NorCal departure to the first center. Cleared us direct to destination. It's just great. So, just my kind of flying. I like that. And then...
Easy peasy.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So go here and, they put us up at this very, very nicely appointed underpass here in Rockford. Comfy bed.
It is pretty
Nice
nice,
light
actually,
for
if
the
you're watching
show.
the video.
It's not
they
too
do
bad at all.
A really good job of taking care of everybody there.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Other than that, after we recorded last week in Dallas, I went through Tampa, came back here through Rockford, and then on to Ontario. Spent a day there, and then back up through Wilmington, Ohio, which was that was a doozy. Going into Wilmington, so apparently, it was so windy going in there that apparently the ground crew that was unloading the airplane had a wager going on whether we'd actually land or divert to Cincinnati because of the wind. And it was rocking. And it went up to 40, and that's the limit. Well, not really a limit, but that's the maximum demonstrated on the 767. So got
if
to land.
only you'd had Boeing wobble wheels.
I know that would have
no
made it
problem.
that would bump it up to at least 75 knots. Demonstrated crosswind, because you could literally
Definitely
fly
reduce
sideways.
Going around.
Exactly. So no, but it was good. Nice stable approach, and the trick with that is just but not really a trick, because just the way I do it is just disconnect everything early enough to get a good idea what the airplane is doing. Both autopilot and autothrottle, and just kind of crab it all the way in. So worked out fine. And after that, limit over to Cincy. Spent the day in Cincy, and then back over here to the hell am I? Rockford. Yeah. When Cincy stopped in the right. You know how it goes. But
it's like,
yeah, well, I mean, you have to keep in mind I've been awake since 11 p.m. last night, so it's been a long day for me. Well, a bit of news here though. We had a they call them crew calls, right? So they basically fill the pilot corps on what's going on with the company and all that good stuff here at Giant. And they're looking at acquiring A330 freighters. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So there's a good possibility that yours truly he might have to go on the dark side. I'm gonna fight it. I'm gonna fight it like hell. But
you're not going to be the first volunteer.
It'll look good on
I
your
feel like
license.
I've had a conversation with Rick about the A330 freighters in the past, so
yeah,
I don't know that he's going to share his feelings on it at the moment, but
yeah, I don't know.
My condolences.
It wouldn't be family friendly. So so we'll see what comes of that. I'll keep you all posted.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
Well,
see what
good luck
happens.
with the course, because of course, Airbus have spies, and if they listen to everything Boeing pilots say, and the nastier they are about Airbus products, the harder the course is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then I see myself doing the checkered a couple of times then.
Might be.
Okay. Is it my turn now?
Yes.
it's your show. Whatever you want, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, it's your turn.
So let's see. I haven't done any flying since then because I've been on vacation, I think. What did we do it last Thursday? I did something though.
Yep, you're
Just to
going on
remember what it
vacation,
was.
that's for sure.
Did Palm Sunday. Got to sing on Palm Sunday at my church. And then this is Holy Week. And today is actually Holy Thursday or Maundy Thursday, some Christian churches call it. And I'm going to sing tonight, and then tomorrow for Good Friday, and then Saturday for Holy Saturday or the Easter Vigil Mass, and then on Sunday. So I get to do all kinds of singing here in the next few days. So very excited about that. And got some. We get feedback the mailbag or whatever, the virtual digital stuff. But we also get real mail and stuff in the mail. And so let me just grab this over here, if you don't mind. And got this box. It says Zulily on it. And I'm going to pretend to open it up. Unboxing. There we go. And what do we got here? This, by the way, is from our producer, director Liz, sent this to the crew. And each of us gets a plain ice mold. See? It's real. I'm showing it to you, to the camera.
Beautiful.
And it's made by Tobolo, and it's an ice mold, and it has airplanes.
Oh, Airbuses! Yay!
I don't think that's an
Don't think
Airbus,
that's-
but okay, if
I
it
like
makes you happy.
Airbuses.
Yeah, these nice.
Well, he's old and senile. We've
If
already
the ice cube
established that at the
sinks,
beginning of the
then
show. If he
it,
thinks
yeah.
if
If
he
the
thinks
ice cube sinks, it's an
let's just let him
Airbus.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Liz. That was very,
Thank you,
very
Liz.
thoughtful of you.
Yeah, that's
fun.
awesome.
Thank
Liz,
you
thanks
very
so
much, Auntie Liz.
My ice cubes.
Yes.
That much more fun. And Aviation E.
Hey, we got this feedback from Bradley Link, and I want to go ahead and read this. The subject is "Love It." Thank you, Captain Jeff, for your great podcasts. Makes my week to hear all of you each time. Have you ever thought of adding an additional member to your podcasts? Maybe someone with a career in corporate aviation? Just a thought. My career so far expands throughout the corporate/business aviation. Again, thank you for the insight and entertainment from the crew at APG. Best regards, Bradley Link. So, I started to reply to Bradley and let him know that the way that this show has evolved. When I started out, it was solo, starting in 2009, and then 2015. I'm sure if you've been listening to the show for a while, you already know this. But if you're new, just kind of bring you up to speed. In 2015, two of the co-hosts that you see on the screen right now, if you're watching the video, Miami Rick and Dr. Steph, were invited to join me on the show. And then the following year, I don't know, sometime early 2016, this other old coot over here, Captain Nick, was invited to join us. But I never planned any of this stuff. It just kind of evolved organically. And so that was the kind of thing I was going to say to Bradley. And then I started thinking about it a little bit more, and I thought, wait a minute. Maybe it would be a good idea to revamp this whole thing and just offer the co-host position for the highest bidder. And so I'm trying to think of some kind of a level of money to start with. I mean, would $1,000, that might not even be enough. Maybe like $4,000 or $5,000 for starting the bid if you want to be a co-host on the show.
Yeah, I'd want to be paid at least $4,000 to be a co-host.
No. You pay me, so you don't
What?
understand. Yeah, so I'm not paying. Well,
So glad I won all that money on scratch-offs the other
You
day.
want us to pay you?
By the way, well, see, yeah, because I'm basically gonna start from scratch. So basically, just kick all of you off, and then just open it up, and then try to get another 3 people to join me, maybe 4. Because I actually could make some serious coin.
Rick, you're the union rep, right? What do you have to say?
Well, yeah, it's
The co-host rep?
Yeah, I'd have to. I'd have to check the bylaws here, and I don't know. I'd have to get back.
Jeff
to you
hasn't
on that
counted on the fact that I have very deep pockets, so he can't get rid of me.
Uh-oh.
Impossible.
Well, that's good. I like that.
I mean,
There
I've
you
got that new
How
album
deep
coming
are
out.
those pockets?
It's going to make billions.
It's not a good way to negotiate stuff.
No, just no one can outbid me. That's all I'm saying. So don't even try.
I'm
just scaring everyone else away.
I'm gonna put a Kickstarter in to keep me.
Let's go fund
my
me.
post.
Go fund me.
Yeah, go fund me to keep me in my post right now, listeners. If you want the old curmudgeon to hang around a little longer because I haven't got that much longer to live. So
give me a break.
he's like
he's going
firing
the sympathy
me.
route. I see.
He's like
We're
firing me at the end
going
of my
for,
lifespan.
We're going for the tear jerkers over here.
Yeah, so I only want to stay for another couple of years.
Stephen Ivy is a confused individual. So he's paying for us now? No, we're not paying for you. I don't care about you or the audience.
Unless you want to be a co-host, apparently. You better need-
Then he's got 5,000 reasons to invite you. So
I like Tim Drager's comment. He says, maybe some interesting guests from time to time. I guess we're not interesting. Thanks, Tim. Very honest.
Ow! Oh!
ouch.
Brutal.
Right.
It's all right. I can take it. I can
Yeah.
take it. I can take it.
I don't know if I can. Golly,
That's
gosh.
good.
Liz is saying, how much for Tim to leave? How much are we going to
All right,
get
I'll put $10. That's all it's worth. Get rid of Tim.
Stephen is still confused, but at least he has. I like his form of payment that he accepts. Though he'll take beer.
Yeah, he accepts paying. Yeah, he still hasn't quite grasped what we're talking about here, Steph.
I know.
I'm not paying anybody. Everybody's paying me. See, get it? I guess the easiest way to put this is this way, Stephen. You'll understand.
Just send your cash.
There you go.
All right. No, of course I'm just kidding. But I'm not kidding about the part where we don't really plan for anything on the show. It's usually pretty obvious. Exactly. But as far as, the way this thing has evolved into the co-hosts and everything else, and producer, director, assistant to Liz, that only I can hear at this moment, although if you're listening to the audio only podcast, you probably are hearing Liz making comments here and there. Just so you know, I'm the only one right now, while we're doing the show live, that can hear her, and that's probably for the best. Yes.
Rick, is Liz in the union?
Liz has a very high position in all sorts of things. Some we know, some we don't. I mean, she likes to keep it that way. So,
okay.
Yeah,
I just wonder whether she'd be willing to come out on strike with us.
walk the line with us. Absolutely.
She's saying
yeah,
yes.
She'll hold
She's
pick.
writing the posters up right now as we speak. She's already got them ready to
exactly.
go because she's that.
No, wait a minute.
That well
She is saying, I don't know what these people are saying. They're a bunch of ne'er-do-wells, and they should have allegiance to you, Jeff. And thank you, Liz. I love you too. Okay. Actually, she's not saying any of that.
The thing here is, I mean, we're good because the thing here is among aviators, we never walk the picket line, so I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. Neil says Liz has all the pictures. Yeah. She reviews them every night. Anyway, that's about it. Of course, we were kidding. Thank you, Bradley, for your expression of interest and initiative, but that's just not the way it works. Maybe, you never know. Maybe one of these days we'll meet you and think, wow, you're God's gift to co-hosts. Let's hire them. Well, hire, I'm using that word kind of.
You should know, Bradley, that we don't get paid.
They don't get paid.
No.
So don't quit your day job.
It's a labor of love.
Speak to that. Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I get paid.
You do? What? No, don't start that. That is.
Yeah,
he's trying to start a fight, and that's not true. So shut up.
What? You get paid, Nick?
Yeah, I get extra for each plane tail.
Who'd you say that union rep was that I need to talk to, Rick? You have to write them an email.
we should
here.
probably move
let me
on.
check. Let me check the back of my badge here. I got her number.
Okay. Yeah, I think the control room is saying coffee fund. Please roll coffee fund. Here we go. It's getting out of hand.
Johnny, how much more coffee?
No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup.
I have to sing tenor tonight, so I'm trying to exercise my upper register. Yeah, get it up. Thank you. Not the first time I've heard that. Coffee Fund, classic. a couple different ways to do the coffee fund here. And you can find out. The coffee fund is your way. Thank you, Liz. Your way to contribute to the show financially, if you have the resources to do that. And a couple different ways: Coffee Fund Classic method and Patreon. And all that information is available at airlinepilotguy.com/coffee to figure it all out. But basically, bottom line,
Just send your cash.
so Coffee Fund Classic is one way to do it, with one-time donation or recurring donations. And Alistair Kerr and Chris Randall, they both do recurring donations via the Coffee Fund Classic method. And Patreon. You can become a patron of the show. And since the last episode, we don't have any new patrons. Yeah. Oh, well, that's okay. Great group of people over there on Patreon that really help support us a lot. So thank you very much for that. Again, airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. Head over there, learn about it. You'll be glad you did.
Just send your cash.
All right.
Captain, incoming message.
How we doing? Is it time for a break?
Yeah. Quick one for
Or
me.
should we forge on? Quick break.
I'm
good.
I have refilled my beverage, but I have not taken any physiologic break, so we'll see how that goes decision-wise.
Okay. All right.
It's an odd choice of-
And I'm just drinking Dr. Pepper because I love Dr. Pepper.
It's one of my favorites too, but I only like the light.
Oh, the diet?
Oh, the
diet.
The diet.
Yeah.
The diet's not bad for diet. I just don't like any diet drinks.
I don't like any diet
the way
drinks
they
either.
Taste.
I'm drinking Lenny Boy.
Oh, that's true.
Kombucha.
Yeah.
Strawberry limeade
Kombucha.
flavor.
So I'm not sure
nice.
if I. So what is it? Kind of like a sour?
It's
tasting
fermented tea.
beverage?
It can be very sour. Sometimes.
Fermented. Okay. Like a lot of the food that I have in my refrigerator down here.
Yeah, a lot of my food is fermented, and so are my beverages. The beverages are supposed to be, not so much on the food.
So, I mean, is it safe to eat food that's been in there for a while and it's fermenting?
No,
or not?
don't do that.
No.
That's
okay.
not good.
Oh, good point. Note to self: don't eat that. Throw it away. Okay. Very good.
Yeah, I cleaned out my fridge yesterday. I opened something that was questionable. It was very
questionable.
sweet smelling, and it was not supposed to be sweet. It was an odd process that it went through.
And it had like lumps of black stuff floating on the surface.
It looked okay, but definitely the smell was not.
Yeah.
Did it wave at you when you opened the fridge? It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It was like, hey, I've been in here for 4 weeks. Do something about
Thank
it.
you for opening that lid. I can
Yeah.
breathe. Oh, man. All right. Looks like we're all back into positions. And never mind. Feedback. Let's start off with Rick. Not Miami Rick. Another Rick. This is Rick K. And who's in the chat room. Awesome. Okay. Greetings, APG crew. Over the last few weeks, I've heard discussions about career advice and steps to take. It has been great advice you all have been giving. I just want to chime in with my 2 cents on this. It's only 1 cent, right? 50%. On the subject from my point of view as an airline pilot. Of course, there are all different types of flying you can do. Corporate, charter, cargo, flying just for, corporate, charter, cargo, flying just for fun, etc., etc. But my advice pertains to people who want to fly for the airlines. The first thing they should do is go get a Class 1 medical. They don't want to find out later that they have some medical problem that would stop them from achieving their dream. If the doc says they do not qualify for a Class 1 medical, find out why. There may be something that can be done and still get that Class 1. For example, a waiver. Or in other words, a waiver. Over my past 20 years in the 121 world, I have flown with everyone from no college degree through lawyers. Sorry, Dr. Steph, I do not remember flying with any doctors, at least not yet. Well, there's a reason for that. They all buy bonanzas and crash. No, I'm just kidding. I told you we're going to offend people here.
I'm offended at
thought lawyers did that too.
Yep. Sorry. There's the airplane Reaper picture of me with a, what is that called? A Scythe. Ooh.
Scythe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Sith is Star Wars. Scythe is that thing that the Grim Reaper carries.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Correct.
You can also cut grass with it if you want.
Wow, that seems like it'd be a dangerous thing to do. Anyway, the airline hiring departments can be very different at times as to what they're looking for. Trying to stay politically correct here, laugh out loud. So I recommend getting a degree if at all possible. That degree should be in a field that they like and able to make money with. Why? As you well know, this industry has ups and downs. We get it. Is that a pun? Just in the last 20 years, we have seen 9/11, the 2008 recession, and now the virus. Just in case they get furloughed, they want something to fall back on that can be used to help pay the bills. Yeah, that's great advice. We talk about that a lot, that if you're going to get the college degree, get, for your plan B, make sure it's something not in the aviation realm and something that you can solidly count on to be a backup.
I mean, it could be aviation management type stuff.
Well, I guess it could be,
as long as you love it, right? So just make sure it's something that you want to use and find interesting.
Good point. Okay, once they do get their dream job, this last piece of advice is the most important. Try to have at least 3 months of bill-paying money saved up. Hopefully, they will never get furloughed or have some medical condition pop up where they are out of work for a while. If they do find themselves out of work, the money will take some of the stress out of the time without a paycheck coming in. If it's a furlough, this is where the degree comes into play. And by the way, here in the U.S., furlough means something entirely different than most other parts of the world, where if you're furloughed here from an airline, you're not getting anything. It's zero. The government doesn't pay 80% of your salary or whatever. It's being laid off basically, but you get to keep your seniority if you come back, if the airline's still there. Anyway, I always try to encourage people to get into our line of work if they're interested in it. I enjoy giving tours of the flight deck. So far in my career, I've been all through North, Central, and South America, Hawaii, the Caribbean, and Europe. I've seen awesome sunsets and sunrises and the northern lights while over the North Atlantic. I've had some great food while visiting all these wonderful places. It sure beats sitting behind a desk Monday through Friday, 8 till 5. Ugh. Now, Rick, I have to say, that is probably very insensitive, and I think you've offended a lot of people that listen to our show who are working behind a desk Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and I hope that you're going to be ready to apologize to each and every one of those people. Just saying. Okay.
I'm sure he's willing. But having said that, our Rick is a perfect example of what can happen when you don't, in our job, because you don't have a 9-to-5 job. You end up working incredibly long hours and having to keep your poop in a pile whilst you're incredibly tired.
Yeah, that is true. And it takes a little bit of getting used to. I've been flying long haul since my early 20s. I've never flown anything but long haul. This is the first time in my career, actually, that the majority of the flights that I'm doing are in the 2 to 3 hour range, which is a welcome change. So I guess I'm kind of used to it by now. But it is a bit of a butt kicker, and it comes along with a lot of lifestyle type adjustments that you need to make both in your day-to-day life and your diet and your exercise routine, and it takes the right attitude at home as well. You need someone who's supportive and someone that is self-sufficient and all that other good stuff to make this career as an airline pilot work. So
yeah,
it's not just the flying part. It's what goes along with it, and there's quite a bit.
Right, that's a good point, Rick. Don't take that for granted. That's a very important thing.
Yeah,
support from your family. Okay, excellent. Let me take you off a solo there. There we go. Anything else to be said before we move on? All right. Thanks, Rick, for sending in the feedback, and thanks for hanging out with us today.
You're welcome.
No, not you. The other one. Okay. Bruce, are there any co-hosts named Bruce? Okay, good. No confusion. He says, hi,
G'day,
Captain
Bruce.
Jeff.
Sorry.
Okay, yes, Liz, you may interrupt. Mm-hmm.
What's she riveting for everyone who's just watching us live. We don't know either.
Okay, she's
it sounds very
so
exciting.
because, well, you know what, we probably should have popped you in just for a quick. Can you mind if I do that? Can I pop you into the stream?
To the bishop.
Okay, here we go. Go ahead.
Okay,
and say
so
again.
I was just thinking there when Rick was talking about having a supportive home life, the plain tale that Nick did in APG 361 called "The Hardest Job in the Air Force," where he talks to Jilly and what it takes to be a supportive wife and what that role looks like. So if anybody hasn't listened to that, that's a great plain tale to listen to.
Very good point, and
Good
you're
calls.
right. It was a
Good.
very
Goodbye.
good point too. Yeah. Oh, bye. All right. So thank you for doing that, Liz. I know you're a little bashful and you don't like to be in the video and all that kind of stuff, but I think that everybody does love it. All right. So now, moving on with Bruce. He says, hi, Captain Jeff and crew. I know that you often mention other aviation podcasts on your show. Yeah, reluctantly. And that many listeners are also looking for advice and guidance to start or further their aviation careers. I wanted to direct your attention to the Holding Short podcast, and specifically to episode 16, where my niece, Christina von Bülow, is interviewed, description and link below. She is a young pilot just starting on her aviation career and has lots of advice for anyone starting out. Already, her career has taken her around North America as an aerial survey pilot, and now to Northern Ontario as a first officer for a medevac company flying the Metroliner 2. I've also attached a photo of Christina with all-female crew and support team transporting vital COVID-19 vaccine to remote Northern Ontario communities. And if you're watching the video right now, we have that up on the screen, and I'm not sure which one is Christina, but she's one of those standing there in front of the Metroliner 2.
I love the logo on the airplane, Skycan.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Me too.
That's good. And
Sky Care?
what was that
think
again?
it's Sky
A case
Care.
of-
Sky Care.
Oh, no, I read can. Skycan.
Well, it is
Yeah, I
a
think
Sky
it's-
We're gonna get your
Yeah.
prescription checked on you.
Okay. Okay. And are they sure that's COVID? It looks like a case of vodka to me.
I mean, when you're that far north, you'll take whatever you can get, I guess.
Exactly.
A Skycan
shoot that in your
vodka.
arm.
That's perfect.
Bruce is in the chat room. He says Christina is fourth from the left.
There we go.
1,
Great.
2, 3,
Fourth from the
4.
left.
Oh, she's right in the middle.
So
more or
basically,
less.
yeah, kind of right in the middle there. Okay. Excellent.
Very nice.
Well, so here's a little quick, some quick information about the episode Holding Short, Christina von Bülow. Christina has had a love for aviation since she was young. Once she was old enough and tall enough, she pursued her private pilot license during high school at the Brampton Flying Club. She then attended Trent University, where she graduated with a BSc. I guess that's a Bachelor of Science.
I would think so.
Geography. While attending university, Christina purchased her 1963 Cessna 150 and has enjoyed many fun trips with family and friends for fun building hours. Upon graduating, Christina completed an aerobatic upset training course with Patty Wagstaff, which she attributes a lot
excellent.
of her success to when she pursued her commercial pilot license and subsequent ratings. Christina was a finalist for the 2019 Webster Memorial Trophy competition representing the Central Ontario region. Christina started her career as an aerial survey pilot, flying all over North America in a Cessna 172, building hours and gaining valuable PIC experience and pilot decision-making skills. She currently works as a medevac first officer on the Metroliner 2 and 3, based out of Sioux Lookout, servicing Ontario's north. She looks forward to continuing to give back to the aviation community through outreach and mentorship, as she values the mentors who have helped and continue to help her along her aviation career. Christina can be found on Instagram at Christina_von, VON_Bülow, Bulow. And if you want more information or you want to refer to that again, that'll be in the show notes, and also a link to the podcast Holding Short, where she is featured. So there you go.
That is awesome. I tell you, some of the best pilots I've ever flown with are pilots that kind of come through this pipeline of flying. Obviously, first, single engine type aircraft, getting a lot of hand flying in, and then move up to these smaller type turboprop airplanes, flying in the high teens to mid 20s, right where the weather is, and yeah, she's got to be one hell of a dick. I'm sure she is, and I'm really impressed here. So it's great.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Bruce, in the chat room. Oh, by the way, we have somebody from Iraq who has just joined us in the live audience, Mohammed. So, from Baghdad. So, hello there.
Hello.
All right. A truly international audience we have here at the APG. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's Iraq. Nick.
Yeah, I was joking.
I know you were.
Sorry,
I know you were.
Sorry, Mohammed. I just wrote to Mohammed saying, how's Iran? Having made that mistake last show.
That's okay. He had some feedback about it, I think.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll apologize twice then.
I don't think it's going to be in today's show, though. Probably next week. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I know that the only reason why you come here, Mohammed, is to hear us, read your feedback out or play your audio feedback. So if that's what you're here for, then we're not doing it today. So you can leave if you want. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, he won't. He's a nice guy.
I'm just kidding.
It's April Fool's Day. Do you have April Fool's Day where you are, Mohammed, I wonder?
I don't know. I think every culture is a little bit different. Yeah. A bunch of fools on this show, basically every show. So,
I was going to say, this
right
is just
at
like
home.
a
They gave us our own day.
Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, but we
Well, the,
celebrate
official
52 times a year, so 52 times a year we do.
That's okay.
So
Well,
yeah.
1 out of every 52, it can be our own special
Yeah,
holiday.
exactly.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Mohammed says, yes, we have. Okay, cool.
Excellent. So did
go.
anyone
All right.
play any tricks on you today?
is gonna
My
be a-
favourite, by the way, while we're on the subject, I came home from a flight. It was a Hong Kong, landed early, and I was driving up, and I got to the front of the house about 6 a.m., and I thought, it's April the 1st, 6 a.m. at April the 1st. I thought, what can I do to joke my wife? So I called her on my mobile, and I said, darling, we couldn't get into Heathrow. They've diverted me to Glasgow, and I've got this thing I've got to do this morning. And I gave her all these details, and she woke up getting this phone call, and she said, you poor darling, you've diverted to Glasgow. And I'm in the middle of telling her about all these things I need her to do for me because I'm not coming home, I'm in Glasgow. And I ring the doorbell. And I'm still telling her what, and she's going, there's there's somebody at the bloody door. Of course, it was me. So,
That's a
really?
good one, though.
that was so mean.
Yes, Liz, I agree. I don't know how she does love him, but
I thought it was funny.
yeah, it was. All right. Let's move on to 4. Robert. Hello, APG crew. New listener and can't get enough of the show. I work 4 to 10s.
4 tens.
So I can 4
So he
tens.
works 10-hour shifts 4 days a week. 4 tens.
Thank you. for
Oh,
correcting
wow.
me on
There you
that.
go.
Those of us
Is
who
that
work,
is that
those
a
of us who
medical
work,
thing?
yeah, it's often a medical thing. Nurses oftentimes work 4
tens.
tens.
Oh, see, I've never heard that term before.
No, me neither.
That's why we have
410.
you, Steph.
A 410 to me is a very small shotgun.
Yeah, that's true. That's below, smaller than the 20 gauge. Next one down in size.
So it's often a lady's shotgun, if they're slight,
Well,
or a
this just
boy's
refers to
shotgun.
the amount of hours you might work in a day and how many days a week you might
So
work.
that's a 40-hour week, and you'll work
4
4, and
days.
you got
Yep,
3 days
3
off.
days off. Mhm.
Okay.
Nice.
Very
Of
cool.
course, I'm going to get lots of ladies writing in now saying I can handle a 12 bore, and I'm sure you can.
Yeah, watch out. They're going to be
That's
after
what
you.
Careful,
she
like
said.
they're going to be knocking on your door next.
Yes.
And And they won't be in Glasgow.
Nope.
No.
Okay. Well, let's see. I'm gonna start again. New listener and can't get enough of the show. I work 4/10s, so I can squeeze 3 podcasts in a day. Boy, do you guys make the workday go by faster now that I found you. My favorite part of the show, well, there's many, but if I had to pick one, it is when you talk about where you've been and everyone's layovers and such with their flight schedules. Very cool. Okay, this also brings me to a question. What is the airline policy on layovers in countries that don't have the safest reputation? A few years back, I got to visit a few Central American countries, and so as not to offend anyone, they shall remain nameless. But at that time, this particular country was considered the homicide capital of the world and was the most dangerous non-war zone country. I know that sounds dramatic, but those were the words the Google search was bringing up, and when Googling this place at the time. Personally, I had a blast, and I didn't feel endangered at any point during my trip. I'm just curious how a company goes about securing crew safety during an overnight in a place considered dangerous. I know that there are other unsafe places in the world. This one comes to mind specifically because as I was arriving early in the morning for my flight back to the States, there were also flight crews getting out of their airport shuttles, so I can only assume that they had to at least spend the night there. Are there specific policies in place? Is it just a common sense approach? Thank you for any information, and thanks for such a great show. And again, that is Robert. And welcome, Robert, to the community, and thanks for sending in feedback. So I would assume that Nick would probably, and Nick and Rick will probably have the best information regarding crew safety in countries around the world that maybe don't have the best reputation as far as safety.
Yeah. So what we do, at least my outfit, is before you head out, you review what are called station guides, and these are documents, just basically PDFs, with all the do's and don'ts of a particular place. It'll have information about your hotel, places to stay away from, things to do, what not to do, what to do in case of an emergency, the location of the nearest American consulate, and all that kind of stuff. And so you go through that and use, obviously, a little bit of common sense, which goes a long way. Obviously, you're not going to put yourself in a position where something bad might happen to you because, well, one, if something happens to you, then oftentimes, depending on the country where you are, they might not ever hear from you again. So that's not a position that you want to put yourself in at all. There are different levels, obviously. I mean, I've been to places where the station guide recommends that you not leave your hotel or the hotel compound. But oftentimes, when traveling with crew and people that know the area, I'm thinking, for example, Delhi, New Delhi. It's not exactly a dangerous place. It's not something. And the station guide, I believe it used to say to stay in the hotel property, but nobody ever did. If you get to Delhi, you're gonna go to Agra, you're gonna go see the Taj Mahal, you're gonna go see go to Old Delhi, go New Delhi, go see the museums and all the and you're not gonna try not to pass up on that opportunity because you might not get to fly there in a year or two. So again, common sense goes a long way. I've stayed in places like Kabul in Afghanistan, and obviously there you have to be very, very careful and then just abide by what the station guide says, because there's also a liability issue. Something happens to you, you as a crew member are insured by the company, and if you did not abide by what the company instructed, then it's very possible that the insurance payout might not happen if something does happen to you. So again, just use your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what Rick says is exactly right. We of course had the added complication of having an entire crew, which could vary from, a very young person, relatively speaking, 18, 19, who may not even be old enough to drink in some countries, and had seen very little of the world, and all of a sudden you're thrown into a job which takes you to all four corners. And although everyone's trained and given briefings, it's very hard sometimes to relate that with the reality of being in a strange country that doesn't follow the norms that you're used to at home. So I always felt it was very important to set the tone if you were going to a country which had particular restrictions. For example, if you're going to a country that had a very strong religious restrictions, you had to remind the crew that what went perfectly normally at home might be considered very offensive in this country. So there are places where you'd need to cover up. There are places where you couldn't really afford to have a public display of affection, that sort of thing, or you'd fall foul of the local laws. And there's no point putting your hand up saying, "Oh, well, I'm from Britain," or "I'm from America, we do it differently there," because you're not in that country anymore and you have to abide by local laws. So that was always a big concern when you were taking young crew members to, sometimes even older crew members, to foreign countries. There were some countries where there are obvious security risks, and we had a very good security department that kept close tabs on things. So, for example, there was a while, you mentioned Delhi, where they had some pretty bad political rallies, and there was a lot going on, and, there was just a lot of advice on the safest places to remain, which is always the hotel. You're always got a safe harbour there. If you decide to move out, then it's always worth going in a group, so that you're never in a position where you don't have support. And some countries, literally, where you can't afford to leave the hotel compound, where you're taken in an escorted convoy with armed guards from the airport to the hotel, and there you remain, and then the reverse happens the next morning.
You mentioned the escorts. That always made me a little nervous because it was, you just stick out like a sore thumb. There goes the van full of foreigners with armed guards on both ends. And
you're quite right. But having said that, it was the norm because at the airport there would be like 10 sets of guards taking various groups around, and it was kind of considered normal in whatever country that was. And times, only once luckily, had our guards discharge their shotguns to defend the convoy because somebody got too close for comfort. And of course there are some countries where the crew, because they're considered affluent, are considered prey for thieves, and they will be, the bus might be stopped, the guards and drivers might be shot. There are some horror stories out there. So, it's something worth bearing in mind if you ever decide to take up a job in the airline industry. But don't worry, it never put me off, though, despite the fact that we went to some slightly dodgy places at times.
Yeah, it never put me off either. I used to enjoy that stuff a lot. I haven't done it in a while. Been flying mostly domestic now, but it's fun. I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, like I said, just use common sense.
When I was doing my international flying at Acme, we'd lay over in Oahu, and let me tell you, the Hawaiian people are. They may look really nice and all the little promotional things you see. But they're very mean, evil people, and we
throw pineapples at you and whatnot.
Oh, pineapples! Yeah, pineapple throwing.
They strangle you with the lays.
The lays on.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Gratuitous giving of flowers. Yeah,
it was horrible.
So really watch out for that. Yep.
No, but
all
seriously,
all the luring. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But even domestically, for instance, the riots that were going on and are still going on in some places here in the United States, our corporate security will change the hotel, because a lot of times the longer layovers are going to be in the downtown area, and that's usually where the rioting and protesting and everything else is going on. The guy that took his RV and blew it up in Nashville, that created a corporate security response by putting us in a place closer to where the airport was and not downtown. So even happens domestically in countries like the United States. So, and Toronto especially. Well, they've completely banned Toronto. We're not allowed to. Yeah, they closed the border, actually. That was the response.
Don't forget, back in
security.
the 70s when England was actually a bombing target for the Irish Republican Army. Crews coming inbound to the country at that time would have been warned, England is subjected to random bombing attacks, so be careful where you go and,
keep your,
but as Rick said,
up and eyes open and, like Rick was saying, common sense.
You do pick up a sixth sense to a certain extent, and I think your ability to move around with confidence, knowing where you're going, not looking like a tourist, not dressing like someone who doesn't belong, helps a lot.
Try to fit in a little bit,
Yeah, doesn't take
Hawaiian
much.
shirts and socks and
big camera on a
sandals.
lanyard around your neck or something,
right.
and a map. Definitely a map. Just bury your head in it and
Mickey Mouse. It'll be good.
Yeah, perfect. Great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Actually, I have to say, when I started being able to navigate around cities using my phone, that was such a boon, because everyone holds their phone when they're going around, and I didn't have to have a tourist map. I always thought that was brilliant.
All right. There you go. All right. Well, thank you, Robert. Again, good question. And also thanks for sending us the feedback, and welcome to the APG. All right. Continuing on from Richard. This is an update. The Thanksgiving aircraft crash in Kingston, Ontario. If you can, which we did. We covered this shortly after it occurred. Good day, all. If you can cast your minds back about a year, there was a fatal accident near the Kingston airport of a general aviation aircraft near the American Thanksgiving weekend. I sent in some details about the surrounding areas and what may have been likely circumstances about the accident. In addition, I elaborated on the surrounding areas and a probable scenario that led to this. Well, the TSB of Canada released its final report, and its findings weren't too surprising in the end. I'll add the link at the end for anyone else to read up on it, as it revealed some things I wasn't aware of that investigators could use. The most interesting item was that data recovered from a GPS unit was used to better understand what the aircraft was doing up to the crash. I always thought of them as passive receivers and not actually recording anything for future use. A quick summary of the report shows that while the pilot did receive weather information, he may not have read it in its entirety, as there were many indicators that this wouldn't be a good day for VFR flying. Many of the airports forecasted poor weather with minimal VFR requirements, met at best along the way. Additionally, he would probably arrive at night, which would complicate navigation greatly. While he had some experience with such conditions, it wasn't a large amount, and only in his home region, which was Texas, I believe. The report has a captured track of the aircraft on its journey as well, and shows that the pilot quickly realized he wasn't able to do a direct track and tried to press on with an alternate plan. He was probably able to see Lake Ontario and use it as a guide, and probably decided to make for Kingston Airport as a result. Previously, I stated that the lake effect in that area can be great, and I suspect that it took control of the situation as he neared the airport with low ceilings of visibility as he approached. As the final report notes, there was probably a loss of situational awareness as he entered clouds just north of the airport. What the GPS unit recorded provides a sobering account of the last minutes as the pilot tried to control the aircraft. The report, and by the way, there were, I think, six passengers in him, so 7 people altogether in this Piper that crashed. The report also has other items listed, notably the probable weight of the aircraft after the crash. The pilot had overloaded the aircraft, which could be used to indicate his state of mind, which may have been that of reaching his destination. A limited amount of time off and a focus on the destination were in all likelihood high on his mind. I hope that new pilots take the time to read this report and others like it so that they can avoid putting themselves in the same situation. Many pilots probably have been in situations like this and will freely admit that they got lucky when they landed safely, but others will make a different conclusion and do the same thing again. My only wish is that accidents like this become more rare in the long term. As always, I enjoyed listening and do keep up the broadcasts. Richard. And again, he has a link to the an article about the report and also the investigation itself, and that'll all be in the show notes. And it was a PA 32-260, so I'm not sure exactly what kind of Piper that is, but apparently it was at least a 8 place airplane. What? That seems like too many. 6 places like the biggest, right? Piper stuff.
It depends on the. This is is that a Cherokee 6? I forget. When it's all the numbers, I don't remember the.
I guess maybe.
I think that's a
like
Cherokee 6. So that's
person.
6 passengers and 1 pilot. So yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, it is a sobering report, especially the last few minutes of that flight before he lost control of the airplane and crashed, and obviously disoriented and not used to flying in instrument meteorological conditions. Yeah, Cherokee 6, yeah. David Ogden says. Okay. Oh, what do you think here, Steph?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I like how Richard kind of summed things up there. Experience counts for a lot, but it's also important to make sure that you take time to do your planning and that you know your personal limitations and limits for the aircraft as well, so that you don't get yourself into a situation that you don't want to find yourself in. And I think he's right that, a lot of pilots out there have found themselves in situations they'd rather not be in. And the way to move forward from that, assuming everything turns out safely in the end, is to go back and kind of debrief it and think about what should have gone differently, what could have gone differently, and how you can learn from it. And it's always sad when we have to learn from the mistakes of others that did not have a good outcome.
And that really, I think, everybody would agree, distinguishes good pilots from maybe not so good pilots, is the fact that when they get themselves into the situation, they learn the lesson and they don't repeat it. Yeah. But sadly, there are people out there that
and try very hard not to get yourself in those situations in the first place.
Right.
Absolutely. A lot of pilots have good flying skills and good instrument flying skills, but if you're a good pilot, then you'll use other skills to prevent you from having to use those good flying skills and those good instrument skills. A lot of that comes down to planning.
Planning, decision-making, knowing your own personal minimums and not having that get-there-itis mentality. It's... do you ever really have to get to your destination? There's very few instances, especially in GA flying, where, gosh, we must get there right now. There's very, very, very few instances I can think of.
Yeah, and it goes from, it doesn't matter if you're flying a 747 or a Cherokee 6, you're putting command of the aircraft, the same judgment applies, regardless of the size of the aircraft. PIC goes hand in hand with judgment.
It's called airmanship. Right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Richard, for giving us an update on the final report of that sad crash. From Stephen, in episode 463, there was a Greenpeace demonstration at, was it Charles de Gaulle? Yeah. And one of the banners, well, here, I'll read what he says. Dear Jeff and the APG crew, I'm only halfway through the episode, so I don't know if anyone in the chat room has explained the significance of the Greenpeace banners in the article about protesters painting an Air France aircraft at Charles de Gaulle. I've attached an audio version of my feedback for pronunciation purposes, but in essence, the "Is there a pilot to save the environment" slogan is a mashup of the French titles of the Zucker Abrams comedies, which starred Leslie Nielsen, for example, Airplane and Naked Gun. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me let Stephen explain it to us via the audio feedback that he sent in, because I was just looking down and there's some stuff there that I'm not sure how to pronounce. So we're going to let Stephen do it. So here we go. Take it away, Stephen.
Dear Jeff and the APG crew, this is Stephen Hitchen calling from Yorkshire in the UK. I have a bit of feedback for episode 463 and the article on Greenpeace protesters who got onto the apron at Charles de Gaulle Airport and had painted part of an Air France plane green. They were carrying banners with a slogan which you found rather confusing. The slogan being, "Is there a pilot to save the environment?" Well, of course, this slogan, it's not very catchy and it's just confusing, really. Now, I did a degree in French and I spent 4 years in France, and I'm very thankful that finally I can use my studies and knowledge to great effect. And I can tell you that this banner harks back to the Zucker Abrams series of films such as Airplane, Airplane 2, Naked Gun, etc., etc. And these films have in French as their title, the root is Y a-t-il un, which means is there a. In the case of Naked Gun, it was Y a-t-il un flic pour sauver la reine, which is there a cop to save the queen? And for Airplane, it was Y a-t-il un pilote dans l'avion, which is there a pilot in the plane? So you can see that they've used these two titles and mashed them together, and that's where they got their banner from. And just in case you're thinking, surely you can't be serious, I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Stephen Hitchen checking out.
Awesome.
Glad you were able to finally use.
He has no airline experience at all. He's a menace to himself and everything else in the air. Yes, birds too.
Sorry.
No, sorry. I didn't mean to step on that.
Let's see. We need to turn off the.
I was going to say, I'm just glad that he was finally able to use all that French degree and time in France to help us maintain our 50% accuracy here. Thank you very much, Stephen.
I like it.
When he said that, I'm thinking, oh, that's sad that he finally gets to use it for this show.
Now, I'm sure he
finally came in handy
French all the time.
We do appreciate it, though, Stephen. We benefited greatly from your degree. Yeah, that's good stuff. I love the way he said. Well, I'm not even going to try it. Not even going to attempt it.
Y a-t-il un pilote dans l'avion?
Ooh la la.
There we go.
There we go.
I don't get a chance to use any of the French that I studied, and I don't remember it very well either. So thank you for not making me do all of that work, Stephen.
I don't either, and I never learned any. So we're good.
I didn't learn nothing. He also said you questioned the meaning of greenwash, which was the protesters' accusation against the French government. I know what whitewash is, and I knew that, using that context, that what greenwash would be. I'm just saying I'm not used to hearing that term used as often as whitewash, but yeah. Okay. Let's continue. Thanks again, Stephen. Peter writes in, Sky Gods and Jumbo Jets. And I think he means Dumbo Jets, because that was the name of that particular episode, right? Sky Gods and Dumbo Jets. The big ears. Hi, Captain Jeff. I play catch up on past episodes when I run out of current ones. And when was listening this morning to APG 464, the pilot who busted or dusted the Bravo shelf was, in my opinion, a bit confused. Yeah, this is quite evident when he finally responds to ATC's calls and appears to trade places with the controller. Perhaps he was attempting to throw off the controller with his call of 114 Foxtrot Alpha, frequency change approved. It was funny when I heard him say that. Cheers, Papa Tango. No, this is Peter Tarantelli. Thank you, Peter.
That's your second warning, Peter.
Yeah.
3 strikes and
automatically dump that. Yeah, yellow card.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you'll be in the sin bin.
Yes, we agree completely with you, Peter. I think he was definitely confused, and I'm not sure he was purposely trying to throw off the controller with his, with the call 114 Foxtrot Alpha frequency change approved. But maybe he was just trying to lurk and maybe nobody will see me. I'll just leave and pretend that you sent me to a new frequency.
Nope.
Yep. Nope.
Not so
didn't
fast,
work.
buddy. Nice try.
If I leave the frequency, you can't give me a telephone number.
That's right. You won't be able to hear it.
It's not like you know who I am or anything. You'll never find me again.
And that was 114. Something now. Okay. Thanks, Peter, for sending in the feedback. And then let's quickly go to Kurt. Can we get this one? Yeah, I think we can. Kurt is, we'll see. I'll just start from the beginning. Hi, crew. Kurt Wagner from Northeast Ohio. I'm not sure how to post in the APG community Facebook section, but if this below is an accepted way to participate in the community section of your Facebook page, would you be willing to post? Well, as it turns out, yes. Liz saw your post in Facebook, which I don't really get to too often. So now we have it here in our feedback section. Best way, by the way, if you're listening out there, you're new, to send us feedback is to just do an email, address it to feedback@airlinepilotguy.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
It involves a lot less work for us to dig these things out.
And there's a good chance that if you put it somewhere else, like Facebook or whatever, we may not see it. We may completely miss it. Yeah. It could go missed. Yes. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. My name is Kurt from Northeast Ohio. I've suffered from the syndrome for about 5 years now. Oh, that's sad. Forget being just a navigator. I'm just an aviation enthusiast. A pilot at heart trapped in a normal 8 to 5 body. In any case, I admit I do not interact often with the APG community, but I love listening on my lunchtime walks, and I feel like the crew and regular community contributors are like family, like Jeff always says. The best part is the community. Yeah, so I'm pausing his feedback right there. Whether you actually, do communicate with other people in the community or not, just being a listener of our show and sending us feedback like you're doing right here, that is participating in the community. So I'll continue. Let's see, where was I? To my point for posting, I'm organizing a guy's baby barbecue. That sounds dangerous. Equivalent of a baby shower. Oh, I see. Okay. They're not going to barbecue the baby. So it's a equivalent of a baby shower, but for the guys, about 5 of us, to get out and do something special with the dad-to-be. The dad-to-be is a big aviation enthusiast, and I thought it would be really cool to explore some type of behind-the-scenes aviation experience, such as an ATC tower tour or hangar/maintenance tour or something else cool I'm not even aware of. Does anyone in the Northeast Ohio APG community have any connections that they might be able to point me towards to see if anything like this might be possible? We have a lot of community members in Northeast Ohio, by the way. I'm afraid that COVID might still be hindering some of this kind of stuff, but I wanted to reach out to the community to see if anyone in the Cleveland, Akron, Canton area might have a contact or cool idea. Thanks in advance. So, and again, that's Kurt from the greater Akron area. And if you're anybody out there listening up in that area, and I know, as I said, many people in the APG community do live up there in the Cleveland, Akron, Canton, and even Youngstown, Ohio, and all those areas up there. So, Dayton is kind of in the southern part, western part of the state. That might be a little bit too far of a drive, but that is a good idea. The U.S. Air Force Museum Liz is mentioning is a great aviation experience, but that may be a little bit too far to go for a baby barbecue.
Hey, baby barbecue and road trip. How about that?
Baby barbecue and road trip.
I will say that I think tower tours, like ATC facility tours, are on hold right now because of COVID. Yeah. So I don't think that's something that will work out at the moment.
I always think museum visits are great, but if they're open.
How about this? Akron, maybe all your guy friends have already done this, but Akron is the home of Goodyear, or used to be, and they have a thing called a blimp that is up there.
Yeah, Zeppelin, that Nazi company, and Goodyear got together and started building blimps. Yes, actually, they're supposed to have some huge hangars there. I don't know if they have tours there.
I don't know if they do or not, but that might be something to look into.
Yeah, make sure you play the plain tale about U-134 or whatever it was, the U-boat that shot down the U.S. Navy blimp in the Second World War, the only blimp to ever get shot down, the K-16, I want to say, but it's been a while since I did that plain tale.
Cool. Yeah. Let's see. He says that he can be reached. Okay, so I'm not going to give his email address out here, but if somebody reaches us and says, yeah, go ahead and give me the information to contact Kurt, then we'll facilitate that in the background. Yeah. Or if somebody's a friend on APG Facebook, then he can tag them there, or they can tag him. All right. Very good. So thanks, Kurt. Hopefully we'll get some responses from the community up there in Northeast Ohio. All right. What do you think, Liz? Should we go to the plain tale? Okay. All right. Let's see here. It's now that time of the show, the best time, the best part of the show, which is the Old Pilot's Plain Tales. And this week's episode, how do you pronounce it? Aprilia Audine, based on your phonetic spelling, Old Pilot. And let's go over here to push the right button. Okay, take it away.
The Old Pilot's Plain Tales, Aprilia Audine. The 1950s and 60s saw the world of aviation blossom, with the advent of new technologies, many coming from the military advances made during the war, combined with a new post-war optimism. The technological breakthroughs hardly slowed. Manned flight through the sound barrier had already been achieved, and now science was delivering materials that allowed aircraft to surpass Mach 2 and then Mach 3. Nazi terror weapons were only the beginning, and soon the Soviets had their first ICBMs, shortly followed by the American Atlas. But then the world would be stunned when the Soviets launched Sputnik into outer space. With the public's eyes open to a world outside the confines of planet Earth, the possibility of life on other planets was being seriously considered. The thought of meeting creatures from another world can be traced way back to Lucian of Samotsa, a Greek-speaking author of Assyrian descent who penned the novella A True Story in the 2nd century, telling of travel to outer space, alien life forms, and interplanetary warfare. Many more books were to follow, like A New Atlantis by Francis Bacon, The Man in the Moon by Francis Goodwin, and Marianne de Rumier-Robert's story of Lord Seaton's voyage among the 7 planets. The post-war period, however, saw modern authors like Ray Bradbury, Arthur C. Clarke, Frederick Pohl, Poul Anderson, and Isaac Asimov take the genre to new heights. The mind of the public was being opened to so many new possibilities that when Orson Welles announced to his amazed radio audience that Martians were invading New Jersey, many terrified listeners truly believed that the Earth was under attack. Thousands of listeners rushed from their homes in New York and New Jersey, many with towels across their faces to protect themselves from the gas which the invader was supposed to be spewing forth. It's hardly surprising that reports of unexplained occurrences would increase exponentially. After all, if military fighter pilots could see these strange flying machines, then it's hardly surprising that the general public would as well. Indeed, a well-known and popular band, the Foo Fighters, was named after the nickname given to strange metallic spheres, balls of light, and other shapes that apparently followed World War II aircraft. These occurrences were reported and, on occasion, photographed by both Allied and Axis pilots. Suggested explanations included St. Elmo's fire, the planet Venus, hypoxia-induced hallucinations or secret weapons, and therein lies a clue to some future reports. In 1946, more than 2,000 statements were collected, primarily by the Swedish military, concerning unidentified aerial objects over the Scandinavian nations, along with isolated reports from France, Portugal, Italy, and Greece. The items were referred to as Russian hail, and later as ghost rockets, because it was thought the mysterious objects were possibly Russian tests of captured German war experiments. Although most were thought to be such natural phenomena as meteors, more than 200 were tracked on radar by the Swedish military and deemed to be real physical objects. In a 1948 top-secret document, Swedish authorities advised the United States Air Force Europe that some of their investigators believed these craft to be extraterrestrial in origin. There were so many sightings by both military and civilian people that projects and studies were initiated, such as Project Sign, Grudge, and Blue Book. Even military regulations were amended to include the possibility of extraterrestrial spacecraft being sighted. Air Force Regulation 200-2, issued in 1953 and in 54, stated that an identified flying object, UFOB, was any object airborne which by performance, aerodynamic characteristics, or unusual features does not conform to any presently known aircraft or missile type, or which cannot be positively identified as a familiar object. The regulations also said that UFOBs were to be investigated as a possible threat to the security of the United States, and to determine technical aspects involved. The regulation went on to say it is permissible to inform news media representatives on UFOBs when the object is positively identified as a familiar object, but added, for those objects which are not explainable, only the Air Technical Intelligence Center will analyze the data that is worthy of release, due to many unknowns involved. The subject of UFOs became a very popular theme in the press, on the television and in film, and the fact that the military kept very tight-lipped on the subject became, in itself, cause for conspiracy theories to abound, something that the intelligence service quietly encouraged. There were many very secret projects that the U.S. government were investing enormous resources in, and when a rare sighting was made, any alternative explanation was preferable to the truth. Indeed, the more the general public believed that little green men were zooming around in flying saucers, the better. Edwards is the home to many test pilots, and the vast majority were there to fly and develop the regular inventory of aircraft that the USAF flew or were destined to fly in the near future. There were, however, a chosen few who were often seen shipping in and out of that special box within the Nevada Test and Training Range, known as Area 51. There were a few small cadre of pilots, and most had no formal name, but were given a variety of monikers. Our unit, who flew the YF-117A, were the Baja Scorpions, named after a scorpion found in their office, and the Whalers worked on the Tacit Blue, first flown on the 5th of February 1982. Back in the late 50s, there were a few pilots, generally referred to as groomers, after the nearby Groom Lake. The groomers flew one of the most exciting and remarkable projects of the time, details of which are only now starting to emerge after 60 years. The groomers were working on aircraft that employed the Coanda effect, named after the discoverer, Henri Coanda, a Romanian inventor and aerodynamics pioneer who described his effect as the tendency of a jet of fluid emerging from an orifice to follow an adjacent flat or curved surface and to entrain fluid from the surroundings so that a region of lower pressure develops. What Henri had developed was a way for a saucer to fly, and he is the father of the flying saucer. The basic principle of the Coanda effect is that if air is ejected from the top of a dome and deflected to follow the curved surface, it will generate a change in pressure that will lift the dome. It's a simple enough effect that can be seen at most garden centres or nurseries when you watch the water flow around a globe-shaped fountain. The water will flow around the globe far beyond what seems possible. It's held there by the Coanda effect. Henri took out patents on his discovery in 1936, and no other than Theodor von Karman, the Hungarian-American mathematician, aerospace engineer and physicist, famed for his work in aero and astronautics, accepted Henri as being the discoverer of the effect. Von Karman's work on the Coanda effect would inspire Jack Frost, a British aircraft designer who worked for Avro Canada, to develop the idea of a disc-shaped aircraft that would have remarkable performance with speeds reaching Mach 3 or 4. In 1953, the Avro car was displayed to the public. It was a disc-shaped vertical landing and takeoff aircraft with a central power plant that, if developed, could have been a fighter of the future. The Canadian Minister for Defence Production informed the House of Commons that Avro was indeed working on a flying saucer capable of reaching 1,500 miles per hour, 2,400 kilometers per hour, and capable of climbing vertically. Nevertheless, for reasons never fully explained, further funding was never made available. However, back in the Nevada test ranges, a black United States version of the Avro car, Project Silver Bug, was making headway. After overcoming a number of stability issues, the Silver Bug was progressing well, and the groomers were getting to grips with their project. Simply known as Y2, the Silver Bug went through various iterations, changes of power plants and improvements, but the writing was on the wall. It was never going to live up to its potential. Until late September 1956, a chance discovery was made. The weather over Nevada was being affected by the jet stream La Nina, and that had moved to the north and was sweeping down over Area 51. One of the groomers was flying the Y2B at over 33,000 feet and close to Mach 1 when he encountered turbulence from the jet stream. He had been in the layer of fast-moving air when his aircraft pitched hard up, flying out of the jet, but now in slower air, his momentum gave him a boost of speed. As his control problems continued, he pitched down and back into the fast-flowing jet, whereupon he gained another 150 knots of speed. He eventually got the cycle of pitching up and down under control, but on the last exit of the jet stream he had gained so much energy that the silver bug had exceeded Mach 1. Back on the ground, the data from this remarkable flight was examined, and it revealed a stunning fact. The groomers had discovered a way to surf the jet stream, utilizing the power of the atmosphere to accelerate the aircraft by over 100 knots with each cycle in and out of the energetic flow. More flights were undertaken and the technique refined so that, with repeated loops in and out of the jet stream, a boost of speed could be achieved that accelerated the aircraft beyond Mach 1, then Mach 2, and even up to Mach 3. What's more, the usual heating problems associated with very high Mach number was greatly reduced, since when re-entering the jet, the relative airflow was lower, as was the heat generated, giving the skin a chance to rapidly cool. The most remarkable discovery was, however, the reduction in fuel requirements. Once the cycle in and out of the jet, coined dipping, was established, the only engine power needed was that required for attitude control and to maintain the commander effect, the vital aerodynamic force that made this energy exchange so efficient. The potential for long-range, high supersonic flight was incredible, and by the time the Y2F 00 Lima came along, that potential was realized. In early April 1961, the saucer, now named the Silver Surfer, took off from Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico in an attempt to circumnavigate the globe. Overhead lay the subtropical jet stream, one of 4 semi-permanent jets that circle the Earth. Ahead was a fleet of C-130 weather ships to aid in plotting the jet stream's height and its meandering path, and pass that information to the Silver Surfer, as well as KC-135 tankers to aid recovery should the attempt falter. The unnamed groomer pilots clambered into their independent cockpits and took off, climbing up into a strong jet of 170 knots. Within 100 miles or so they had their dipping routine established, and had already cruised up to Mach 2.8. It was a punishing routine of climbs and dives that subjected both pilots and the airframe to a continuous cycle of around 4G with little respite. However, averaging 1,800 knots, they were covering the ground at 34 miles every minute. They coasted out over Florida and began their crossing of the Atlantic, the fastest achieved to date by a huge margin. They progressed over North Africa, the Mediterranean, and then over the Black Sea. When the jet curved north into Soviet airspace, their chain of support aircraft were unable to come with them, so the Silver Surfer followed the forecast route of the stream. There were apparently a few moments of tension when they lost their river of air for a few minutes, leaving them vulnerable to interception by Soviet fighters. The crew quartered the sky until, almost by luck, their ground speed rose as they hit the middle again. Restarting their hard climbs and dives, they regained their momentum as the jet stream curved down over China, past Japan, and out across the Pacific. Despite being back into the coverage of their Med aircraft, the Silver Surfer again lost the core of the jet, but only for a little under 100 miles before they re-established their cruel routine of dipping in and out again and again. Coasting in over the west coast of the United States, they passed overhead Holloman 2 hours, 47 minutes and 27 seconds after takeoff, completing an incredible flight of around 4,229 miles at an average speed of 1,787.53 miles per hour. Their fuel reserves were so high that they were able to return directly to Homey Airport in Area 51, and it was estimated that had the groomer pilots been able to withstand over 2 more hours of punishment, they could have completed at least one more circumnavigation of the 30th parallel. There is still a great deal to be discovered about the Silverbug project, its achievements, and why it was wound down in the late 60s. Certainly, an aircraft that had to remain within the vicinity of jet streams would have been at a severe tactical disadvantage. More so, however, for the US than the USSR, since the subtropical jet stream wouldn't necessarily take bombers over the Soviet Union, and the polar jet that could is lower and slower and less reliable. The USSR had the advantage, since the opposite was true. Regardless, once ICBMs were part of the military's inventory, the development of more such craft became unnecessary. It also remains the question of how the Canadians were persuaded to abandon the Avro car, and more worryingly, how the Soviet Air Force was able to build a strikingly similar aircraft within a few years of the Silverbug. The Soviet flying saucer, Aprilia-1, named for the birth date of Sergei Rachmaninoff, the famed Russian pianist, is known to have flown from their secret base at Igotcha, but whether they discovered its amazing ability to harness the power of the atmosphere in the same way as the Silverbug project is unknown. However, one thing is for sure. Once these aircraft ceased their secret test flights, the number of reports describing alien spacecraft capable of unimaginable performance fell to just those that came from the misguided or those with an overexcited imagination. For a while, though, the Silver Surfer kept the Air Technical Intelligence Center very busy.
Wow.
Just fantastic.
You are an amazing storyteller, old pilot.
I just relate what I hear. Yes, it is those
We've
black
some good
projects.
tales.
You know, they're all very, very interesting.
That's how I particularly like the name of the Russian base. That's that was great.
Yeah, I don't know quite how you're supposed to pronounce that.
No, I don't know.
My best guess was I, as in Ivan, gotcha. But
I gotcha.
yeah,
Love
that's
it.
right. Yeah.
Love it.
Very clever.
But Laura thought there was something a bit tricky about the registration of that Silver Surfer, F00 Lima. I don't know what she sees there. I don't quite understand that.
No.
There you go.
I don't see. Yeah, I don't see it either. That was.
And if you're trying to pick holes in the science, I'm afraid you'll have a hard time. It's all true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ironclad
Science. It's science.
It is.
Science.
Love it. Love it.
Oh, man. Great job. Hey, sorry about, I don't know what's going on with my video. Just flickering like crazy today, which it normally does not do. I'm just on fire. No.
It's the electrostatics.
Okay. It's got to be it. The
Part of the
electricity of the show
Yeah.
is just, I can't control it. All right. Thanks again, Nick. Great plane tale. Let's continue with 9. Ethan. Hey guys, continue to love the podcast. It's playing constantly in my office, offering a welcome distraction from the perpetual Zoom meeting that the hospital administrative world has learned to become so accustomed to.
Ew.
Yeah. You. Yeah. Are you familiar with that as well, Steph?
I've had a few Zoom meetings. Fortunately, I'm not on the administrative side very much, so I don't have to do it all day long, but I feel your pain there for sure, Ethan.
Anyway, I found this great old video about Virgin Atlantic 747-200 operations while on the exercise bike last week. Two things. First, does Captain Nick recognize any of these guys? And then second, Rick, fast forward to around 25 minutes. Back in the 200 series, was it common to see the 4 throttles at different positions during different phases of flight? Was the flight engineer responsible, on the 727 too, for setting thrust during the entire flight? I assume that there was no auto throttle on the Dash 200. On the 747-400, why do we not see the throttle set at different positions like in this video? I think we have somebody here that can tell you the yes, magic.
Not science? Darn.
No. That's scientific magic. Let's see. Let me share a little bit of the... Well, you know what? We don't have to play the video. It'll be in the show notes, and you can watch the around the 25-minute mark, the throttle positions. But first, let's ask Nick if he recognizes any of these people in this video.
Well, yeah, of course. Not really. I don't really know them very well because... the Boeing fleet and the Airbus fleet didn't mix much. We didn't usually go to the same destinations. The only time you'd bump into people would be perhaps when you checked in and were just doing your paperwork for perhaps 20 minutes and, just to pass the time of day. However, when I joined the company, I did a skills test, flying skills test in a 747 simulator. And the engineer, the chief engineer, the engineer that was manning the panel of the simulator, the 747 simulator, was Alan Bonnick. And I sat in the captain's seat. The trainer was in the first officer seat, and I just was asked to fly the aircraft around and do various tricks with it. And when we got to the end of it, I was asking the trainer. I was saying, "Look, I've got a job already lined up with another airline. I really want to come to Virgin. I don't really want to go to this other airline. Can you give me some indication, or perhaps ask the head office to send me a letter through so I can make a decision as to where I go?" Because I don't have a lot of time before my A300 course with Monarch, where I would have gone, starts. And he was saying, "Oh, well, I really can't say anything right now," but behind him, flight engineer Alec Bonnick was just giving me a thumbs up. He was just going, "Yeah." You did. He was basically saying you did good, so that was really nice. I really appreciate it.
And the other guy goes, "What? What are you doing? Why are you smiling?"
Nothing. No, really nice bloke.
That's small world, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Rick,
absolutely.
What's the deal with those darn throttles?
Well, it's as simple as this. Back in the old Dash 200s, the throttles and the throttle quadrant was connected by just old school steel cables to hydromechanical fuel control units in each engine, and so you would set the required power based on either your engine pressure ratio or your N1, whatever your primary power setting parameter was. And since you were mechanically connected to the fuel control unit in the engine, and the rigging is different from thrust lever to thrust lever, the amount of thrust lever, I guess, travel required to give you that power setting might be different from lever to lever because of the rigging. So it's just simple as that. So that's basically what happened there. And the reason why you don't see it on the 400 is because the 400 uses, just like most modern airliners, they use what's called a thrust lever angle transducer, which sounds like a mouthful, but it's really all it is. It's a device that that uses a very low voltage DC current, and that puts that is directly proportional to power. So the higher the voltage, obviously, the further up the quadrant the thrust lever is. That voltage is sent to a processor, which is connected to what are called EECs, electronic engine controls. And those EECs send an electronic signal to the fuel control units in the engines, giving you the power that you require. And so, since these are electronic signals, the difference between lever and lever is negligible versus a physical cable connected from the throttle to the fuel control unit.
Is that all part of the FADEC full authority digital engine control?
So
system?
FADEC is one thing and EEC is another thing. They're both electronic engine controls.
Okay.
But FADEC, one of the differences between a FADEC and an EEC is that a FADEC actually shuts the engine down to protect the engine from any overtemp, overboost, anything like that. And EEC doesn't. The EEC, all it really does is it just provides constant thrust based on the required thrust at the time, and it corrects for difference in altitude, density, temperature, all these things. It does it for you. So the EC is basically your flight engineer. But going back to the 200, the 200 did have an auto throttle for the cruise portion of it. So yeah.
And so in the 400 with the EECs and the low voltage DC transformers and all that kind of stuff, basically there was no cable, right, going from those thrust levers all the way back to the fuel controls on the
cable whatsoever.
So there you go. That's why it can just all be all nice and lined up, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas airplanes such as the 200 model of the 747, the 727-200 that I flew, I mean, if sometimes you get engines that were really not, or the alignment or the trim or the rigging was not, or over time had gotten worse and worse, and it wasn't unusual to see like a knob width or more of difference between the three thrust levers.
And I tell you, when I got my A&P license, one of the things I had to do as part of my my power plant exam, practical exam, because just as a pilot exam, you go through a three portion exam, an oral, a practical, and a written, right? And so the part of the practical exam in my power plant certification was to adjust the rigging of one of these cables. And so what you do is along the length of the cable, you have what are called turnbuckles. And these are safety wired, obviously, to make sure that they don't loosen up. And really, what turnbuckles do is they change the tension on the wire by screwing the center of the turnbuckle clockwise. So you're pulling both screws into the turnbuckle, taking away the slack from that cable. And so that's kind of how you rig things the right way. And at the end of the day, you're kind of eyeballing it because it's a really, really, really hard procedure to rig throttle cables. But that's really what you're seeing. They're just different in rigging.
Okay.
I remember sitting on the I was going to say 747, the VC-10 jump seat with my old man, and the flight engineer there had his a completely independent set of throttles.
Wow!
So on the side of his panel or his table, on the edge of the panel, he had 4 throttles, which matched were linked to the ones in the center console the captain used. And he would tweak them during the cruise. And it was quite common for the captain, when he was flying an approach, to call for RPM or thrust settings, and the flight engineer would set them for him. So he wouldn't actually have his hands on the thrust levers.
Auto throttles.
Exactly. Powered by engineer. Now on the old -200 throttles, so you have the thrust, I guess the thrust levers that the pilots use, and then just after that, behind the set that the pilots use, there is a set that the engineer uses, and so he kind of scoots up between the captain and the first officer and sets power using his own set of handles there, in lieu of having his own throttle quadrant and on his side panel there. But it's the same principle. Yeah.
Are those the ones that you see that are a little bit lower and they're sticking out like perpendicular?
Exactly right. Right above the fuel cutoff switches. Those are for the engineer.
I was looking at those thinking, what the heck are those? I think can't be the thrust reverse levers.
No, yeah, those are for the engineer. That's because remember, the engineer actually sets. The engineer sets takeoff thrust and sets climb power, because you have on the old Dash 100 and 200s, you had old school I guess, analog thrust computers, which would give you a target either EPR or N1, depending on the phase of flight and altitude and all that stuff. But the engineer had to set that, and then once it was set, then you would engage the auto throttle and would actually act more like a cruise control. The changes still had to be made by the engineer, and that's why he had to set his set of I guess there.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, thanks, Ethan, for sending that in. Again, we'll have the link to the YouTube video in the show notes if you want to take a look at it. Continuing on, Harris writes us and says, "Hi, APG crew. I came across this picture 2 years ago," and go ahead and show that overlay, Liz, if you can find it. There we go. "I finally remembered to send it to you now that Dr. Steph cut her hair. There's a strong similarity to the photo on the website, wouldn't you say?" Oh, I guess he meant to send it before she cut her hair.
Yeah.
Because this picture, a little bit longer hair. It says, there's a strong similarity to the photo on the website, wouldn't you say?
Where's my aviator sunglasses? I need them.
Yeah,
they're in my car, actually, at the
on,
moment. Yeah.
And
I
your
need to borrow
pilot
your
hat.
hat.
You need your
Again.
Russian military hat as well.
Russian military hat. Yeah, I can see that. It looks like me.
Yeah, it looks like some kind
never
of promotional
been to Frankfurt, though,
cartoon at Frankfurt.
Cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I might just steal that and use it as my avatar or something.
That's a good
I
idea.
like it.
Did you give them permission to use your picture?
I'm not going to ask.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I wasn't going to ask them. They didn't ask me. So.
Yeah,
I like it. Maybe you've put epaulets on your blazer there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you have total of.
I don't know when I got
stripes,
promoted to
shake a
captain,
stick out.
but.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I like that double stripes. That's good eye there. I didn't even notice that.
All the extra stripes.
All the stripes.
All the stripes. Like that one video, the guy. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Doing
like,
the pattern,
like
talking about the
12
traffic
on each
pattern.
side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was funny.
But no scrambled egg on your hat. That's so disappointing.
I know. Yeah. Well, actually, some
Obviously
at LAN, as a captain, you had to have had your command for 10 years to get scrambled eggs. You as a captain.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, Harris continues, "Jeff, if you're ever up for a cup of coffee and a chat at the Starbucks at Mansell and Highway 9, which is just up the road from here, let me know. I don't think I've been there since the last time we met." I've been there many times since the last time we met. He says, "Best, Harris." Bergman, PhD. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And yeah, I look forward to meeting up with you again sometime for a cup of coffee. All right. Thanks for sending in the feedback, and I'm glad you're still out there listening, Harris. We have some more audio feedback, this time from JJ Pittsburgh, and apparently JJ has a beef with the subject of our last feedback, Dr. Steph. So take it away, JJ.
Hey, Captain Jeff, Steph, Rick, Liz, how's it going? It is JJ Pittsburgh. Anyway, I was leaving a message just to say hi, but also I had a beef with Dr. Steph, literally a beef, because she's talking about, on the latest episode that I was listening to, about Cookout, the drive-through fast food eatery. I'm on an eating plan right now. I'm getting myself healthy, and that food, even though it's amazing, it's far from healthy. And I was just complaining to Steph because, man, that gave me a craving for Cookout. And believe me, I ate a lot of that stuff when I was down south, and it is good. But I just wanted to let you know that it gave me a craving, and I'm not too happy with you right now. So we'll have to talk it out at some point. Anyway, peace and love. Enjoying listening to the shows, catching up, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. So
Hey,
What do you
I
say to
can't
that?
control the cookout cravings. I mean, I'm there with you. It strikes me unexpectedly, and I should say, as the resident physician here, I would not advise cookout as any part of healthy eating or diet plan. It is not the healthiest nutrition, but it is delicious if you find yourself in North Carolina, South Carolina, and I think some places in Georgia.
Yeah, I have one
Hamburgers.
here in Alpharetta.
Hamburgers, corn dogs, milkshakes. Yeah.
So
chicken.
so clearly not health food, but what about McDonald's, Dr. Steph?
Oh, that's not healthy either, but also delicious.
Just wondering if you ever go there.
I am not here to provide dietary advice. That's not
Just not a model of nutritional.
No. I'm sitting here. Well,
whatever.
the kombucha wasn't too unhealthy.
There you go. Yeah.
But
it all
moved on
balances,
to
right?
soda, so don't judge me. Anyway, but sorry, JJ. Sorry, not sorry. I'll say that much.
All right. Well, let's continue with some more feedback here. Thanks, JJ, for sending that in. Number 13. And this is from Jonathan. Dear Captain Jeff and crew, I know you all have spent a lot of time lately discussing 777 engine failures, but I was absolutely riveted to listen to the captain of the flight narrate what happened and the decisions he and the crew made in a conversation on the Blancalirio channel. That's Juan Brown's YouTube channel. The whole hour-long conversation is great, but his conclusions at the end and just how fortunate he felt that it ended well was really arresting. Curious if any of you had a chance to listen and if anything there was new or surprising. Thanks so much. And again, this is from Jonathan in Minneapolis. And if I think many of the people that are listening to the show have heard us mention Juan Brown and the Blancalirio channel, and his analysis at times is just spot on. Well, it usually is. But having this gentleman who was the captain of United Flight 1175, which was the flight from somewhere on the West Coast to Hawaii, and I think they were a couple of 100 miles out from Hawaii when they had this explosive engine failure, very similar to the latest United 328, I think it was, or whatever, in recent times. And just interesting to hear how they handled the situation, what they experienced, the crew resource management that they went through, and all of that is just fascinating. And I highly recommend that you watch this YouTube video, and it will be in the show notes for you to find it.
Yeah, it was a great interview. And the interesting thing about this is that but I watched this a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was interesting that the engine failure was so bad that it actually knocked off the system that is the 777 is equipped with to deal with these asymmetric thrust type situations. The TAC, the thrust asymmetry compensation system, was knocked out. And
wow,
so this was
all old school.
Yeah, it was completely old school IMC, and just getting the airplane on the ground, just hand flying the whole time, which is why it becomes so important to make sure. And the captain on this video here mentions the fact that it's important to remain proficient in your hand flying because you might need it, you might rely on it. In this case, they very much did.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jonathan, in Minneapolis, for the feedback. Let's continue on. Is Laura still with us in the chat room? I know she was with us earlier.
I don't know if she was, yeah.
But she sent this in. Hi, APG crew. Wanted to pass this story along. I came across this company recently on Instagram, and it happens to be located in Michigan. That's where Laura is located as well. It's called Aviator Cookie Company in Midland, Michigan. I thought it would be great to help get the word out. The owner is a furloughed airline pilot, and I love the story behind his business. I'm hoping that this will encourage listeners in the area to visit. I'm planning on making a stop the next time I'm in Midland. They opened March 20th, not that long ago, and sold out early the first day. And then she has a link to this video, and lucky for you, I have it in the folder for the show, and I'm going to play it right now if you guys don't mind. So let me hit the share video file, and I hope that ABC 12. Oh, what are you telling me about now here, Liz? Okay, hang on. I can't see it right now. Hang on. Let me. His neighbor's son owns Aviator Cookie. Okay. Well, here I'm gonna open.
It's been the lifelong goal of a lifelong Midland native to open up a cookie shop, but because of his job as a pilot, he hasn't really had the time to do it.
But the COVID-19 pandemic has actually given him the opportunity needed to get it done, and so he has.
Our Colton Sikoraki shares his story from Midland.
It's been really a mix, like a blessing in disguise.
Chris Welch has been a pilot for more than 25 years and has followed in his family's footsteps. He's one of 14 pilots in his family, and he got his start flying right here in mid-Michigan.
I first flew for the first time here at the Midland Barstow Airport on my 16th birthday.
Welch has been working at a major airline flying internationally until the COVID-19 pandemic hit.
I was flying international routes to Europe, and those were the first ones that were canceled. So I almost immediately overnight, I was now home with nothing to do.
Sitting idled, Welch knew he wanted to turn a negative into a positive and follow a lifelong passion. And with the help of his two kids, the idea of opening a cookie shop was born.
So the idea had been in my head, and then I was driving around town, and my daughter said, "Daddy, when I grow up, I want to own a cookie store." So that was all the motivation I needed.
For the past 9 months, Welch, his son and daughter have been working tirelessly to turn that idea into what is now Aviator Cookie Company, a new shop coming to downtown Midland. Its theme is pretty obvious. The store is paying homage to Welch's roots as a pilot. The store features a countertop made from a 1955 airplane wing, and the cookies are first class, all made from scratch. Even the logo has a special meaning behind it.
My son helped me create the logo, the idea for the logo at least. He pictured an airplane bombing cookies around town, and that's what it became.
Welch has 30 cookie recipes right now, and it's always thinking of more. And as he prepares his store for takeoff this weekend, he says he is just happy to be doing what he loves with his family at his side.
I'm a single dad half the month, and I wanted to show them that in life, if you want something, you have to go get it. And they've been a part of this through and through.
In Midland, Colton Sikoraki, ABC 12 News.
Wow, those look good.
It looks like the lemon cookies.
Yeah.
They do.
In case you're wondering, Colton tells us that the cookies taste amazing. Thanks, Colton.
Right.
And that Aviator Cookie Company officially opens this Saturday at noon.
He's got a lot of good-looking cookies up there, too. My
salted
gosh,
caramel.
the chocolate chip, molasses, lemon, all my favorite. If you need quality control, I can do
Send
this
it
on the
this
side.
way.
Yep.
Yeah, I can help out with that, too. Yeah, it looks great. Congratulations to him.
Sounds like the other reporter Colton didn't share with the
Apparently not. And I think my stomach is going to start growling now that I'm thinking
I know,
about
I'm
those
suddenly
donuts.
quite hungry.
Or not
It's
donuts,
dinner time.
cookies.
It's almost dinner time here.
Those look really good. Yeah.
Guess I'll have to visit Michigan.
Yeah. Liz was making the point that we got to get these furloughed Canadian coffee roasters together with this guy and talk about a winning combination right there.
Yeah.
Dip
All
your
right,
cookie in the
if you-
coffee and good to go.
Yep.
Yeah, Lost Aviator and Aviator Cookies, or Lost Aviator Cookies merged.
Ooh.
All right, so that information will be in the show notes, especially for those of you out there who live in that area of Michigan. Check him out and support him if you can. He says, or she says, Laura, they do have updated business hours on their Instagram and Facebook pages. It's good to check before you go because they have been selling out pretty frequently. As always, thanks and love the pod. Thank you,
She did
Laura,
that
for
on
that.
purpose.
I know she did. That's why she did the wink, wink. She goes, this is going to upset Jeff. Let's see. Tim says, I helped cut that wing from a derelict beach on our airport. Wow. Talking about a small world, huh?
It is small.
That's amazing.
It's a small world. It really is.
It's a small world.
That'll be on my upcoming album.
Oh, really? I look forward to that.
Teaser.
The long play.
Apparently,
yes,
that
the one that never ends. Just like you're on the ride at Disneyland,
turn
and you're
it
like,
over.
oh my gosh, I've been on this
You
ride
turn
for
it
20
over.
minutes, and it's the same song over and over.
See, that's going to be
on
bad
the
for
long
tonight.
playing album. On the long playing album, you take it and it's just playing the entire side. You flip it over and it continues playing.
Yeah,
for that side.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Consider the day the album was released today.
Okay. Let's see. Someone named Liz sent this in. I think I know who this is. Let's see. Controllers call in the blind saves pilot this is actually from the Federal Aviation Administration. It says, on his second to last day working as a controller in Lexington, Kentucky, home of the Big Ass Fan Company, right? And Greg Peterson, our biggest ass fan, or something like that. Uriah Addington saved a pilot from a potential midair collision. Uriah Addington made his second to last working day working as an air traffic controller count big time before he was promoted to operations supervisor at Cincinnati Tower. On November 27th, 2020, Addington was working flights on the radar scope from Lexington Tower, Tracon in Kentucky, when the pilot of a Beechcraft Bonanza was unknowingly in danger from a converging aircraft. The pilot had departed for a short flight to the non-powered airport of Somerset, Kentucky, about 70 miles south of Lexington. After practicing maneuvers in the Lexington airspace, with Addington providing service, pilot David Letty said he would proceed southbound without needing air traffic control services. Addington offered to set up flight following or traffic advisories for Letty, but the pilot declined, saying that I'm a doctor and I don't need anybody's help. No, I'm sorry. He didn't
That's
say
how we
that.
all are. Go it alone.
I was reading between the lines, I think. Sorry. And he said he declined, saying that it was just a short flight he was taking with his son. Addington terminated radar service, but just a few minutes later, he noticed converging traffic on the left side of the aircraft. He alerted Letty immediately. The aircraft was on a collision course to T-bone Letty, and fortunately, he heard the call and was able to maneuver out of the way, recalled Addington. Letty did not have a chance to thank Addington on the frequency, but when he landed, he emailed the controller to express gratitude for going above and beyond to help avoid what could have been a dangerous situation. He made the call, and it may have been one of those things where he could have avoided a mid-air collision, Letty said. I wanted to thank him for the culture of safety they foster and the important job he and other controllers do every day, except for the ones in the Triad area. Letty was most impressed that while he... I don't know why they put that in there, but,
It seems oddly specific, but...
Very oddly specific. Yeah. Let's see. Letty was most impressed that while he had terminated radar service, the controller still had the foresight and professionalism to continue scanning the airspace and make a call in the blind, a transmission without obtaining acknowledgement from the pilot. It was enough to get the pilot's attention. Equally impressive is that no conflict alert went off to help Addington notice the problem unfolding. Truthfully, I didn't think anything of it when it happened, Addington said humbly. I just kept working. It goes back to the way I was trained. At different facilities, I've had great trainers that harped at the need to keep scanning, and that scenario was a perfect example. You don't know if the guy's there or not. You just make that transmission. Air Traffic Services Deputy Vice President Brian Throop commended Addington for his great level of focus and professionalism. Addington was a controller for 12 years, with most of them in Lexington and Jacksonville, Florida, and Air Traffic Services selected him to serve as an operations supervisor at Cincinnati Tracon, which borders Lexington's airspace from the north. I'm looking forward to it. I think it will be fun and challenging and something different, said Addington, who is training remotely for his new position. My wife and I are from Kentucky, so we'll still be close to our families. Very cool. And yeah, it was really nice that, he did keep an eye on what was happening there, even though, potentially the person, Letty, the guy flying the Beach Bonanza, had already switched frequencies or wasn't listening or whatever. But, he heard him call out the warning and may have saved some lives there.
Yeah, a great example of a professional who, just trying to make life as safe as possible for all of us in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I understand though. Why would you turn flat following down? Even though it's a short flight.
If you're interested in some controllers' opinions of that, I would point you over to those guys from the Triad opposing bases because they've got some thoughts about it.
Very strong
Basically, it boils down to get flight following, please.
Right. There's no reason not to.
They just want to get paid more. That's all it is,
Well, the article did also say this.
Don't
I
think
didn't
it works
read
that way. I think they're getting paid no matter what.
The article did mention that, many controllers, such as the ones at Triad, would probably just go and take a break and get some donuts and coffee instead of looking at the screen and keep scanning and keeping people safe. But I didn't want to read that because that's kind of harsh.
Yeah, I think so, yes. Because they're probably going to get cookies and coffee, not donuts.
Or cookies and coffee, yes, from the Lost Aviator Cookie Company.
Freebies, kickbacks, something.
There you go.
I don't know.
All right, thanks, Liz. Mario writes in, hello, APG crew, and the most important one, Liz. Oh, I see now why we have this one in here. Hello, APG crew, and the most important one, Liz. But she is part of the crew. Let's see if this makes my feedback get to the show faster. He put in parentheses.
It was a bribe.
Yeah. Flattery will get you everywhere, Mario. He says, my name is Mario Barbosa. I'm from Brazil, but for the past 6 years, I'm Jeff's neighbor in Marietta. North or south of the Big Chicken? Gotta let me know. Anyway, just a quick feedback about the accident on the last show news on which the co-pilot had very few hours and was flying in an airline already. In Brazil, you can start flying as soon as you get your commercial certificate with 250 hours. You still need 1,500 hours to get an ATP, but you can fly as a co-pilot with 250. Most airlines still require more than that, but in the past, Azul Airlines used to hire co-pilots with just 250 hours. Azul means blue in English and was actually founded by JetBlue's David Neeleman. Thanks for the amazing show. Be safe. Honestly, Maria, I didn't have an airline transport pilot certificate when I was hired by Acme. I just had a commercial certificate. And honestly, I don't know if there was any minimum other than what Acme, the airline itself, had for minimum hour requirements. But I think even back then, here in the U.S. was the same way. I mean, as long as I had my commercial certificate here, I could have been flying for a big major airline. But things have changed since the crash of the what was it?
Colgan.
Colgan 40 something.
I forget the number, but
the number?
Colgan. Yeah.
Yeah, the Colgan crash in Buffalo. Yeah.
Yep.
So very cool. Well, thank you for.
This is just a fun aside with nothing to do with his feedback, other than David Neeleman went to both my high school and college. We have the same alma mater. Anyway.
Who did?
The JetBlue founder, David Neeleman.
Oh, okay.
Neeleman. Yeah.
Is it Neeleman, or isn't there a D in there somewhere?
It's that's spelled correctly. I just can never remember how to actually pronounce it.
Neeleman.
Yeah.
Does he come to your reunions?
No, I've never gone to a reunion, to be fair. So.
Oh, he's probably there every year, giving out free gifts for everybody.
Free trips on free tickets to vacation.
He's probably missed out big time.
Sure. Okay. Let's see. We're getting close to the end of the show here. 17. Oh, yeah. Here's a good one. Steve writes in, just Steve. I don't think I have a last name here. Since most of my life happened in the 20th century, rub it in. Oh, wait. No, that's for mine, too. I thought he was saying 21st century, but 20th century, that was the century I was born in. Let's see. I can't find the review department in your podcasts. So can you use this as a review? Or no. So you can use this as a review if you wish. It's not a question, Jeff. And he gave us 4 hearts.
5 hearts.
5 hearts.
No, 5. You're right. 5 hearts. Yeah. like 5 stars, but it's 5 hearts.
Are you sure you're an airline pilot?
I don't know what I'm doing. Well, as
The
I said
reading
at the
requirement
beginning,
is very basic.
don't do too much. Don't do too much research.
I think he's only got a CPL, you know.
Shut up. There's several. As I said at the beginning, don't do too much digging up because you're going to blow my cover story here, people. He said, all your podcasts strike a chord with me. I can't get enough Old Pilot. Oh, wow. Now we're trying to...
We can't use that one. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That review is invalid for that last statement.
Probably gets rejected every time you put it in.
So, just, we don't really...
Apparently, Nick has been funneling some of that money that he gets paid over to... what's it called?
To reviews.
Steve, over to reviews. I think
paying for
reviews.
there. So, talking about reviews, and I don't, we don't really mention it enough here, but we have a lot. What did I look here? Was it 800 some odd reviews? Sent 868 reviews on iTunes and podcasts. Apple, they just changed the name of the thing. Since I started doing the Airline Pilot Guy show, which was the renamed Catholic Pilot show in 2011.
So what's that, one review a year?
Apparently you don't have to be good at math to be a pilot either.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 868 years.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was, that's right.
No.
Just how old are you, Nick?
Methuselah has nothing on me.
Anyway, you can review on Apple Podcasts. There's a way for you to do that, and I'm not sure if you can do that with other. We're streamed in a whole bunch of different streaming services like iHeartRadio and Pandora and Spotify and TuneIn Radio and all the streaming places. And I'm not sure if any of those have the ability for you to do reviews as well. But the big place is the Apple place podcasts. And if you feel so compelled to write a review on us, please do. For instance, like this one, the latest one that we had, at least when I was checking the reviews, is entitled "Coolest Cast of All." I hate flying, but I love this podcast. It is truly addictive. I love Captain Jeff's sexy voice. Thank you. Love Miami Rick. Captain Nick is so interesting. Dr. Steph is fabulous. Wow. And
why, thank you.
Liz, the producer-director, is beyond reproach. 7 level. Well, we've said that about you so many times. Yeah. What do you think about Captain Nick? He's interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
How about this one? Ya'al Prince of Believers. Ya'ali Prince of Believers. Wrote this review. The best podcast to kill boring. Okay, so we're not boring. That's good.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. And this one, finding, and this goes to my heart because this is really important to me that we kind of come across as being your friends and being your family, because we are. This is from Super Brad 007, 5 stars. Listening to this podcast is informative, enterprise, and after a while feels like you are actually part of a family. Well done, Jeff and crew. Thanks. So, yeah, you can do your reviews there. Now, if you're thinking about doing a review but it's less than 5 stars, then don't do it.
Yeah, we don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what does Laura say? April Fools would be a great day to write some good. No, Laura. Okay,
wait until tomorrow.
Somebody boot her out of the chat.
Who's got a spanner in the YouTube chat room?
She's doing the pod thing again too. Thanks, Laura.
The pod.
Okay, that's it. We're done. Yep, stick a fork in us.
Turned into.
We are going to point you over to our awesome website, and Arash is the one that kind of manages that for us. And again, that's airlinepilotguy.com, the website address, where you'll find information about all sorts of things, including more information about the amazing, and I have to say something here. this show in particular, but every show that we have since you started doing the Plain Tales, which is, I don't know, 260 some odd episodes now, did you say, Nick?
Yeah, about that. It's getting that way.
So, I mean, everyone, every time we listen to that Plain Tale, it's like a broken record. Oh, that was amazing. You outdid yourself again. But I have to also mention the fact that the two news stories that we had here today that were kind of not totally accurate and real. Iffy, yeah.
Questionable journalism.
Steph, if you need to run,
I gotta run, so I'm gonna delegate my. I'm sorry, I will catch you guys all next time.
Okay.
I'm gonna delegate my social media's responsibilities to.
Oh yeah, somebody else is gonna have to cover that.
Rick.
Yeah, Rick will do that. He's good. He's good.
Oh, awesome. Okay, great. That'll be fun.
All right. Cheers, y'all.
All right.
Catch you next
See
week.
you, Steph.
Bye, Steph.
Bye.
Bye. No, I'm not saying that they were fake news, Liz. Oh, no, actually, yes, I was. I am saying that. Anyway, Nick, you're such a creative guy, and these news stories were just great. And they were almost so good that I almost was believing them when I was first reading them. So thank you, Nick. You're awesome. Thanks for all the hard work on the show today. You really made this April 1st edition very special. And anyway, so, more information about the Plain Tales, and we have a library, APG library. Tiffany is our librarian. We have merchandise, and we have, what else do we have there? Information about the coffee fund, the calendar.
The library, yeah.
Linked to YouTube. Oh, yeah, let's quickly mention that for those of you who are watching this live. And you're using Facebook Live to do it, you'll notice that probably aren't too many people there kind of chatting in the chat room there. It's because I'd say probably 90% of the people that are watching the show and are involved in a very active chat room are on YouTube. And so please check out the website. It has a link to get you over to the YouTube channel. And join us there. I think you'll have a lot more fun. It's a little lonely over there in the Facebook Live chat. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, that's enough of the website and stuff. We're also on social media, what I like to call the social medias. Now, Rick is going to tell you all about the social medias.
I'm trying my best here. So,
I can't
APG
wait.
Crew on Twitter. APG Crew on Twitter. Our individual profiles are on there. If you want to follow each of us individually, now obviously follow APG Crew. We're also on Instagram. I've seen a couple of pictures of Steph and Jeff and Nick, and I gotta start posting a bit more there myself. On Facebook at what's the Facebook one again, Jeff?
Facebook.com/Airline Pilot Guy.
Right, and then Hillel does his best at keeping up with the Slack. And he's hanging out in your bathroom there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's April Fool's Day, and I'm not sure that... oh, wait a minute. Well, hang on. I'm turning on the microphone there. Hang on. Watch your ears. Hey, Hillel, Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
All right. Well, that's all right. Come on over here, and I'm going to give him a little chance to dry off so he doesn't get all of this equipment wet, as he likes to do. Okay. There. You ready? Please tell us about Slack.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas. We suggest episode and Plain Tales topics. We plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel. Now, get on your way back to the bathroom back there. And
I wouldn't go in there for a while, Captain.
Okay, thanks. Good advice. I appreciate that. Also, we'd like to thank all the hard work that our producer director in the control room in Toronto, Ontario, Liz Piper. Thank you, Liz, for all the hard work that you do to make us look good. All right. And with that, looking forward to meeting back again next week, and hope you're all able to join us as well. And until then, wishing you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
We'll see you next time. Be good out there.
Bye, everybody.
I didn't forget anything, did I?
No, you got it all.
Okay, good. Just had this weird feeling like, okay, what am I?
It's just, because we're missing Steph on the second, the
Yeah,
all the
just threw everything
goodbyes.
off there at the end,
Yeah.
didn't it? Excellent. All right, here, let me hit my stop on my recording. I advise. I hope Steph stopped her recording.
Oh no, she's going to end up with another week's worth.
Yeah, would you send her a text message and let her know to
Yep.
turn off her recorder? Okay. Let's see. I know she did some kind of a message that I kind of wasn't able to read. Oh, she has title. Okay, suggestions. Great. Okay. All right. Now, what did y'all think? Oh, Roger. I didn't know. Was Roger here the whole time?
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, Roger, you missed the best part of the show, which was at the very beginning when you did the intro.
Right, it was a great intro.
Yeah, I don't know what
My
he did.
goodness.
I don't know what he did to his voiceover
Audio was really
but
good
it was
this
like,
week.
yeah, really. Now I don't. Maybe it has something to do when I did I did the voiceover for the last show because Roger wasn't able to do it. I may have tweaked some of the compressor settings or something, and so it was all the same settings, and I just dumped his voiceover on that track, and maybe it was the tweak that I made to the compressor expander filter that did it.
It's all downhill
good.
with the intro.
So Liz tells me that Steph had not turned her recorder off, and now she is turning it off. So she thanks us for reminding her of that. Because otherwise it would have been another 72-hour recording or longer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do you all think in the chat room of our? I guess this is our first April Fool's show, right? That we actually recorded on April Fool's Day.
Have we ever had a show that actually was on the 1st of April before?
I don't think so. I don't recall ever having one.
I mean, I did a April Fool podcast. Sorry, a plane tell a couple of times. I remember the glass bottom airplane. And,
Yeah. But it was like all around April Fool's, but I don't know if it was actually on April Fool's.
Exactly. So I don't think we're going to do this every year, are we? But
unfortunately.
Okay.
Or maybe, I don't know. What does everybody think out there in the chat room? Did you enjoy that?
Start a
Of course,
tradition?
if we do it every year,
What's
then
the-
everybody's going to know that everything's fake. Yeah. Elaine, thank you for your support. All downhill from the intro. Can always count on him for positive support.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Crew logs,
Mike is saying
Neil's
Fool
going.
Fighters. Steph, her suggestion for a show title is April Fool's Glitches or April Fool's Glitch. That's very true. There were a lot of glitches on today's show. It'll be an interesting editing session for me.
I think we could be a bit more subtle, can't we? We don't want to make it too obvious.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah, true. You're not, people aren't hearing you, Liz. Can I pop you into the video? Okay, here we go. All right,
Hello,
'cause
everybody.
she's telling me all these great things in my ears and nobody else is hearing it. So
What
we
about
have some
something
other
around
suggestions?
ejector seats, Nick? I know we had a few ejector seat stories there.
I'm trying to think of something that's subtle that doesn't make it look like you're dying, because most people in the ejector seats died.
Yeah, dying to be ejected. No, that's not good.
Oh boy, no. Won't go there.
Probably not a good title.
Okay, so what else?
Well, we're the
was
crew that
terrible.
ejected
Thank you.
on 43, and we kept a line book. So it's a book of jokes that people hear, and they used to fill it out. And anyway, this navigator was in the hospital, and after his ejection, and a really young nurse came in, and she looked at him and said, "Oh, you're the bloke that ejaculated."
Oh.
Oh boy.
Well, there's a show title right there.
I want to see the artwork for that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a little flashy.
Yeah, you don't want to see the. Just put some wings on it.
Photograph any toilet door. That would be no problem.
Nick, can you do anything with dangerous layovers? Anything
Not
with,
immediately coming to mind.
Armed guards or,
Lane is a funny guy.
My suggestion, there were lots of suggestions about using the word fool, which I really liked. So I was going to go with more fool you. But
go whatever works for you.
I mean, I've just
full ejection.
Full ejection.
A fool and his plane are easily parted.
Oh, that's a bit long, but I like it.
Mm.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Jeff, you need to go to church and do some praying.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to go to confession again.
Dang it.
So what do we get? We got Fools Rush In, following the Flying Fools, 100 Fools, Jetstream Fools, A Ship of Fools, Flying Fools.
Airship of Fools? Airship of Fools?
No, just Ship of Fools.
Could you have Airship of Fools, though?
We didn't have an airship in the story.
Didn't we talk about blimps when we were talking about the guy going to see the Goodyear hangars and stuff?
Yeah, I guess briefly we did mention
I don't
airships.
know. I'm reaching. I don't have many suggestions this week. I apologize.
I'm just trying to
I know
think
I'm
of how
fired,
to,
but
how to
that's it.
image a fool.
Bye, Jeff.
I suppose I could do a jester. That would work.
Yeah.
Fools whoosh in. Quite like that. Fool me once. I could just do one of your presidents, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Don't go there.
Yeah, let's try to keep politics out of this.
Okay. Saucy Fools. Airliner of Fools. Woohoo Liz. I don't think that was a suggestion.
No.
Where's Jeff? I guess, but you're back. You can always fool around. You can always
fool around. Bum, ba-dum, bum.
Fooling around?
Oh, fooling around.
Fooling around.
Fooling around and ejecting. Very careful about that.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Now that it came out of my I gotta stop that sentence too.
Yeah, you do.
Just don't go there.
Full Metal Jacket. Oh, that's kind of cute, except for it's from Laura. So definitely automatically reject that one.
Fools and
Cookies
Cookies.
this week.
Planes.
There's Poppy.
There's Poppy.
Anything to do with cookies? Can you do anything with cookies? And we'd have quite a bit of discussion around cookies and cookies in the cookies.
These cookies make me fool.
Cookies and the coffee fund.
My stomach is full of cookies.
Oh God.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Nick, you're gonna have to find something and all that crap.
I'm going to come to this in the morning, and I'm going to look at what 3 words I've written. I'm going to go, no.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. We'll just come up with some great artwork, and then we'll come up with a.
We'll tailor the title to your artwork.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'll come up with foolish artwork.
Guys,
Okay.
I gotta take this. I gotta run.
All right.
Okay, Rick.
See you, Rick.
Bye.
All the best, Rick. Nice to see you.
Take care. Nice to see you guys.
Okay, Jeff, you got to get going too.
Yeah, I do. All right.
Okay.
Well, hey, it was a blast. I was really looking forward to the show, especially the cool stories that.
Just end the broadcast so we can have a
us.
quick chat, Jeff.
Okay. Yes, I'll end the broadcast.
Bugger
so we
off
can have
you
a quick
lot.
chat. Oh, that's right. They can hear you. I don't have to repeat everything you're saying to me because they can now actually hear you.
Exactly.
Okay, here we go. Ending the broadcast. Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Enjoy
everybody.
the day. We'll
Happy
see you.
Easter for those celebrating.
So long.
Yes.
Thanks for all the